Everybody, welcome to the November 4th, 2025 Select Board meeting, and thank you all for coming. We've got a nice full room. Dee, would you start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, yep, if we could please silence phones and put them away. I understand that you need to take calls. If you don't mind stepping out to take the call so it's not disrupting the meeting, that would be great. Thank you very much. Do I have approved the minutes of October 21st, 2025?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. At this time, we're going to have new public business. Please come up, introduce yourself, and the clerk will be putting the timer on. Please try to limit it to 3 minutes or less. Okay, Bill.
Thank you. Bill Bates, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 4. I stood up here 2 weeks ago at your meeting on October 21st, and I complained about the traffic and the detour on Maple Street. And I just thought it was fair to come back and thank the town manager who responded with an email, including a little joke that if she was deciding where the detours were, nobody'd get home or be a bigger mess. But more importantly, Steve King reminded me that in November of last year, he had provided a complete road closure notification procedure to me as a town meeting member. And I reread that, and it is, traffic congestion on this particular area, they said, can it go two-way traffic and be managed safely? That the officer on scene is the person that decides whether the traffic pattern is working, and that if he feels the road should be closed, he can contact his supervisor, and they inform me that they don't have a a civilian traffic control program in Danvers. But he also mentioned that on that particular route, Maple Street, that he had a pre-construction meeting on October 1st, and that they walked the corridor. The group determined that allowing one-lane traffic would be a safety concern, and that they felt that they did a nice the closure of the roadway would only be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and the group did not feel that it was safe to split the traffic onto neighboring streets that were not meant to handle the big tractor trailers. So that's why Summer Street, Locust Street, and North Street was chosen. So I just wanted to come back and say thank you. I'm glad that there is a lot of thought that's put into it before you close a road. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, the other Bill?
He is the Bill.
The Bill.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1, if I may. Some point in the past, I asked if when the town was paving, if they would be willing to put a proper pad underneath the dumpster, what have you, where the food pantry is. I've seen what the property looks like when they plow in the winter, and I think it would serve well to have it done. I was over there to make a drop-off today with my wife and noticed it hadn't been addressed. Is it still on the to-do list, or is it on the won't-do list?
We'll have the town manager look into it. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Lauren?
Good evening, Lauren Steves, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 3. I'd like to offer some clarification on comments that were made at the last meeting about my research and the electronic voting survey I distributed to town meeting members. Participation in the survey was voluntary and intended to encourage open, candid feedback. I presented the aggregate results consistent with the level of detail typically shared in town surveys to capture the overall sentiment rather than the individual responses. A concern was raised about the survey's reliability based on a handful of informal conversations with town meeting members.
Is this not an agenda item?
It is. Let her just speak. Let her finish it. Go ahead.
Thank you. That line of reasoning undermines the value of verified data. Casual feedback from a few people isn't representative of the body as a whole. With 56% of town meeting members responding, this survey offers a far stronger and more reliable measure of sentiment than anecdotal conversations do. Questions were also raised about the way the survey was phrased. To be clear, the question was written in neutral, straightforward language. It simply asked, would you be in favor of implementing clickers for town meeting members to vote electronically at meetings? There was no persuasive framing, just a clear question. The range of responses, yes, no, and undecided, show members felt entirely free to answer as they saw fit. Ironically, the idea that phrasing could influence responses actually highlights one of the major issues electronic voting seeks to fix. Our current voice vote system relies on perception, who sounds louder, or how the tone is interpreted in the room. Electronic voting completely eliminates the subjectivity. Some have also suggested that people may not want others to know how they vote, but that sentiment runs counter to the foundation of representative government. Town meeting members are elected to vote on behalf of residents. Our residents deserve to know how we represent them. That role comes with the expectation of openness, and if someone is uncomfortable with that level of transparency, they are misunderstanding what it means to serve in a representative capacity. Since the last meeting, an employee from the town of Hamilton reached out to me to share their experience. Hamilton has used electronic voting for over 6 years with great success. Each clicker has a unique ID. The moderator knows exactly how many were issued, ensuring every vote is properly accounted for. During each vote, a large screen shows when all clickers have registered and each device lights up when your vote is received. If a device fails, it can be instantly swapped out. They describe system as transparent, efficient, and well-tested. Lastly, I'd like to reaffirm the integrity of the research and the survey data I presented. The goal was to provide useful data to help inform this discussion. It is of the utmost importance to ensure we are making decisions for our town from an informed standpoint that gives equal weight to each voice, and that those decisions can stand up to scrutiny even after the vote has been called. For transparency and for the record, I'll restate the survey results. 81 members responded, 52 in favor, 21 undecided, and 8 no.
Thank you. Next, Mike? Thank you.
Hi, Mike Trainer, town meeting member, Precinct 5. And I just wanted to speak a little bit about the town manager, town meeting act committee, some of the discussion that's going on. I attended some of the meetings. I know that group put a lot of work into some of the recommendations. There was a lot of debate going with it. I think at the last meeting, you had discussed their recommendation was to reduce the number of town meeting members to 15, and it kind of came up. It might be based off population, so that's why we went to 18. There are other towns that have greater population with far less town meeting members.
Point of order.
So
Yeah.
That was a board meeting for which we explained that there would be public input at the, further public input.
Yeah.
I think this is an out of order.
Okay, he
Okay,
can
so
just sum
let me
it
just
up.
finish it.
Yeah, finish
I
it up,
guess,
Mike.
can
Yeah.
we just ask the question, is it based off population? I can't ask the town council, but it's just, if you're making a decision or acting on a recommendation, I think we should ask all the
Right.
questions
So
regarding this.
yeah, so what's going to happen is we're gathering, tonight we're going to be doing deliberations for the Town Manager Act.
Right.
What we're doing is we're getting all that together, and then we're going to, the public is going to be able to speak, so that's when you'll be able to speak.
No, I get that. I'm just
Okay.
asking if the board could ask a lot of the questions, just, is this based out, rather than make assumptions.
We
If
will, and we will as
okay.
we gather. Remember how
That's-
last meeting you were here, that
Yeah,
we were
I
gathering
do.
everything?
Okay,
But thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for coming up. Next? Hi. Please go up and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Eddie Schrage, and I'm a town meeting member for Precinct 1. This is not a title I take lightly. I have been elected to represent the people. It's not about Eddie Schrage. I have attended and voted at one town meeting so far. I was very surprised how much one person has so much power at the meeting. Votes are decided by her interpretation of the loudest group. I don't blame her at all, for this is the way it's always been done. We have an opportunity to bring Danvers out of the dark ages with these handheld voting counters. I am also hoping that when you hit that button to vote, it will register what each specific person votes. The voters have the right to know how you vote. Otherwise, how does an educated voter know who to vote for when they fill out their election ballot? There have been two separate polls taken on these handheld devices, and the response was overwhelmingly in favor of the devices. In my humble opinion, if you vote against those, you do not want the people who vote for you to know what your votes are. I thank Laurie Steves for all the work she has done for this. Let's all bring Danvers into the year 2026, doing what the people deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mark?
Good evening, Mark Zubrek, resident of Danvers. I would like to bring up a couple of items, and one of them you've already answered, because I was very concerned about the public input into this town manager, town meeting, act review. It's town charter, basically. That's what we're running against. And what you're telling me right now, that the public will have an opportunity to participate and comment on your decisions. Is that true?
Yes.
Fine. Then the other item that I'm very interested in is I go through meetings that are scheduled on a regular basis, and I go through the internet site. And I noticed that there's a Finance Committee meeting scheduled for November 13th already. I thought the Finance Committee is an appointed committee, not an elected committee, that makes no policy decisions except for what funding is going to be allocated to each and every one of the items. I understand that tradition has been that Finance Committee gets involved, but this is way premature. We don't have a warrant article. We don't know what we're going to ask town meeting to vote on. Why are we scheduling a Finance Committee meeting already? Now, my question is, why are we rushing through this process? We have been waiting for this process for 30 years. Now it's finally been accomplished. However, I would like to make my comments when I get a chance later on about how this process went by. Because as you know, I have been a proponent of a town charter review for the last 10 years. So that's my comments, and I like to, Finance Committee doesn't belong here yet.
Right, and we're going to go over the timeframes the town manager will go over at the end of the meeting, once we get through the dates of what the next steps will be with the review, after the deliberations. When you get to come before us with a public hearing in December, I think it's December 16th, right, Joe?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I might, to add clarity to what Mr. Zuper's asking, the presentation to the FinCom is not the warrant article. It is the presentation by the committee that presented and offered changes. September 23rd, presentation to the board. October, November, the select board looks at it. November, it's a presentation of the report to FinCom as it is redlined by that committee.
Yep. Thank you.
On December 16th, we'll have a public hearing for a select board will have a public hearing on the warrant that is finally crafted. And in January, FinCom will review that warrant. They're not reviewing a warrant that is not prepared yet.
Well,
They're getting a report just like we did previously.
There is no warrant. The Finance Committee
That's correct.
is
They're
not
not
an
looking at a warrant.
elected committee. It's an appointed committee to look at issues as the warrants are presented to the town meeting. We have not presented anything to the town meeting. We have a report on the table, and we are discussing it. However, what I noticed, on November 13th, there's a Finance Committee meeting to review the report.
The report, not the warrant.
Right.
Well, it doesn't belong there. That's my observation. That's all I
Thank
wanted to
you.
bring up.
Thank you for your comments, Mark. And thank you, Gardner, for jumping in.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. So at this time, a public hearing will be held in accordance with Section 2 of the Rules and Orders governing private livery service within the town of Danvers on the application of OTR Limo, Inc., DBA OTR Limo, Otter McCory, owner, 500 Maple Street, to increase current livery license from 10 to 15 passenger buses to travel on all streets in the town of Danvers and to provide transportation on a reservation basis only. Who's here to speak?
Hi, hello,
Hi.
everybody. My name is Arthur.
Thank you. Welcome.
Me and my wife here, bless you. Me and my wife here, we own OTR Limo here in Danvers, and also we own the property. So, as of right now, we have 10 licenses. 10 licenses. Now we try to increase to 15, so we can park 15 vehicles in there.
Excellent. Board members, do you have any questions, Gardner?
No, I see the plot plan of his property. I also see the pictures clearly showing he has room for the increase. Knowing where the property is, who the neighbors are, and that it's commercial, I see no reason that this shouldn't be approved. Thank you.
Mike, questions?
Yes, please. Are these vehicles you currently own, or are you going to be purchasing?
I do own, as of right now, 10. We will be purchasing more. Now is the time for me to buy, because it's on the winter, they go down on the price a little bit, and that's when I try to get some more.
So business is good, I'm taking?
It's excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, God, and the United States. No, I really mean it. I really mean it. I really mean it.
Is there any, with more vehicles, is there any chance of having any kind of spill, oil spill, fuel spill, anything like that with the increase of vehicles?
No, no. Most of the vehicles that I buy, if not brand new, fairly new,
Okay.
late models, low miles on them, because they get used once a week, really. The limo business is literally once a week, and they will be, sitting all week. So I don't see having any problem. We've never had any problem.
And no neighbor complaints?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. D?
Yeah, I'm actually a neighbor, and I haven't complained yet. Well, no, I don't have any problem with this. I would actually say, I remember when the gentleman came here with one bus, and I think that was like an old MBT bus a few years ago. And now you're 10 and you're going to 15. Kudos to you and your wife.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you
job.
very
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, D.
Dan?
Yeah, these, in compliance with all the rules and regulations, zoning and everything, that from the last time you had to make some changes, and we appreciate you doing that. And I have no problem with you going from 10 to 15.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Clerk, is the paperwork in order?
The paperwork is in order.
Wonderful. I think it's wonderful. I'm glad to see that you're going from 10 to 15. Good luck.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
I move that we approve the application as presented.
Yep.
It's
Do I
a
have
public
second?
hearing.
Oh, we close the public
sorry.
hearing? Do I
I
motion
move, well, you have to
close the
ask.
public hearing?
No, you have to ask for
Oh.
public comment.
I'm sorry, any public comment? Anybody want to get up and say anything? I'm
I
sorry
move we
about
close
that.
public hearing.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the application as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. So, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Good luck.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, a public hearing will be held on the application of DGN Auto Select LLC, DBA DGN Auto Select 72 Holton Street. Nick Dorville, owner of a Class II dealer's license at that location. This location previously held a Class II dealer's license issued to E&S Auto Emporium. Who is here to speak?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, my name is Nick Dorville, and I currently taking over previous Class II license from E&S Auto Emporium at address 72 Holton Street, Danvers, Massachusetts.
Excellent. Board members, do we have any questions?
Just one question. How many vehicles can you keep in that area?
Total of 3.
3? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Gardner, do you have any questions?
No, and is this only for sales, or will you be doing repairs on site?
No repairs will be done on site.
Great, thank you. That's my questions.
Yes.
Dee?
No question. Looks like it's a change of ownership for me. No questions.
Excellent. Dan?
Is this a transfer of the license from the previous owner or a new license?
It's a transfer.
It's a transfer, okay, thank you. No other questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody in the audience have anything they'd like to say? Okay, clerk
Move
is,
we close the public hearing?
okay, so I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Clerk, is the paperwork in order?
The paperwork is in order.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Well,
very much.
we close public hearing. I
Oh,
move
close
we
the public hearing.
accept the
That's me.
application as presented.
I'm tired tonight.
Second.
That baby duty.
Gardner and D.
Gardner and D. And do we have second and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, the board will hear an update from the manager of the Beverly Regional Airport. Who's here to speak? Please introduce yourselves. And we're going to keep this in order, everybody.
Good evening. My name is Gabriel Hannafin. I'm the airport manager at Beverly Regional Airport.
I'm Kyle Ritalik, Chair of the Beverly Airport Commission.
Thank you for having us today. So I want to start out kind of an overview of the airport operations. So for those that don't know, an operation is a takeoff or landing of an aircraft. That's kind of how we measure the busyness of the airport. In 2024, we had over 91,000 operations for the entire year 2024. That was the busiest year that the airport had seen since 2002. This year, year to date, we have only had 58,900 operations. That's compared to this time last year, about a 26% decrease in operations. This represents, and going at the rate we're going, I would estimate we'll see in this year with around 70,000 operations. That's similar to where we were in 2020. This would represent the first decrease in year-over-year operations since 2014, and the largest year-over-year decrease since 1977. So I want to put some visual kind of where we were up to 2024. The black line are yearly operations going back to 1962. That's as far back I could find reliable operations data for Beverly Airport. You'll also see various red lines throughout the history of the airport at various times. There have been forecasts given of the airport and where it was projected to be in 5, 10, 20 years. I know at one point they were projecting in 1992 we'd be doing 450,000 operations. Of course, that hasn't come to fruition, and the airport has consistently underperformed on the operations. The last good forecast analysis and study that was done for the airport was done right here in 2019. That was as part of our last master plan effort. And since that happened, we've been well outperforming the operations. Now, if I throw in 70,000, assuming we'll, in this year, around 70,000 operations, that's where it would put us. So it almost seems like a correction of sort back to our forecasted numbers. 70,000 is right where we have been forecasted to be. In 2019, said around this time we'd be at 70,000 operations, and we've just outperformed that for whatever reason as the industry really has seen increase nationwide since COVID. So that's operations. Now, a little bit more interesting behind the curtain on the operations is that decrease is exclusively in small single-engine aircraft. We're actually seeing a slight increase in jet traffic at the airport. Two reasons behind that. One, again, is just the overall Since 2020, nationwide, there's just been an increase in use of that type of travel, the on-demand jet service. Specific to this region and specific to this year is that Boston Logan is actually undergoing a lot of major improvements, one of them being a total reconstruction of one of their main general aviation jet ramps. So there's very little to no parking at Boston for these private corporate jets. So there's this year been several folks that would otherwise be flying to Boston. They don't have room for them, so they come and fly into Beverly. That's the national airspace system at work. We are designated as a reliever of Boston for that exact reason. But that gives a little bit behind the scenes on that slight increase in jet traffic. So now I spend some time on noise. So year to date, I have received 176 total noise complaints. I've broken that up into the communities, so each complaint I receive gets one tally here, and then unique addresses. So those 176 complaints have come from 35 individual addresses spanning the listed communities. So you can see I've heard so far this year from 16 Danvers residents, totaling 48 total complaints. In 2024, we received 98 total complaints. So we're at almost double the number of complaints this year that we received in all of 2024. However, in 2024, we also heard from 35 individuals. So we're hearing from the same amount of people. They're just sending in more complaints. And a little bit deeper dive on that, year to date, 3 individuals account for about 60% of our total noise complaints. So there's our 3 top complainers have sent in 106 total complaints year to date. Look at the aircraft type. 3/4 of all the noise complaints come from our single engine, piston-driven aircraft. And I would say that of those 132 complaints, 125 plus are about flight school aircraft. We've got 2 flight schools based at the airport, so they make up most of that number of complaints about those single piston engine aircraft. The remaining 25% is divided between the 20% of jet traffic, and then the remaining 5% kind of scattered through other types of aircraft. Looking back again to 2024, again, the overwhelming number of complaints were about the single engine piston aircraft at 82% and only 10.5% from jet. So even though this year we're still seeing a vast majority of the complaints about those single engine aircraft, that gap between them and the jets is closing. Whether that's driven a lot, I think, by those operational decreases that I opened with. And the majority of noise complaints about jets are about medium-sized jets, and I've thrown in what that means, the dimensions of a medium-sized jet as defined by the FAA. And then look at kind of when I'm getting these noise complaints. As far as time goes, in 2024, I received 15 reports of curfew violations. Our noise abatement program says any flights between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Should be avoided. That's our curfew. Again, the airport is open 24/7. The FAA solely holds the authority to mandate and control air traffic and flight routes. However, in the voluntary noise abatement policy, we ask everyone to try to refrain from flying between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. In 2024, I received 15 reports of people breaking that curfew. That's down significantly year to date. I've only received 5 reports of that. Kind of one of the more surprising things I've found in this year's tracking is that we get significantly less complaints on weekends. I always kind of went into this assuming weekends would be our highly complained about days when folks are home and they're outside and doing family activities. But as you can see, Sunday is our least complained about day, followed closely behind Saturday. Fridays are the most complained about day. And then here's the months that we only received 2 complaints in October. Our most complained about month was in March. So this map shows the location of every address that we've heard from since 2020. So 2020, 21, 2, 3, 4, and year-to-date 25. So if you've sent in a noise complaint to Beverly Airport, your address is plotted up here. Something we found is that only about 15% of our noise complaints are about aircraft that are on approach and landing, which makes sense. Even though they're low to the ground, they're usually little to no power in, so they're not producing a lot of noise. The remaining complaints, the vast majority of complaints, are about aircraft that are taking off or in some phase of flight shortly after takeoff, where there's power in, they're relatively slow, and they're low to the ground. That creates a really disturbing, loud, uncomfortable noise for those on the ground. So going with those numbers that we've received, you see, we'll start off with runway, what we call 27 right here. So if you take off of 27, that's the runway that takes off directly into the Danvers neighborhood. And you see all of these correlating addresses that have complained about that traffic. 3-4, if you take off of 3-4 and go this way, you have all of these. This is all Wynnum addresses up here. Have these pockets of individuals that are disturbed by that traffic taking off of 3-4. If you go to 1-6 and you take off of 1-6, you have this pocket of folks in Beverly that are affected by that noise. There's one gap in this map, and it's all right here. We have a few addresses kind of spattered through here, but for the most part, an aircraft taking off of this runway, runway 9, takes off and is over farmland, dense forest, and Wynnum Lake at that loudest, most disturbing part of the flight, when the aircraft's full power, taking off, doing what we call a crosswind turn, when they're still climbing out of takeoff, but they make that first turn away from the airport. That tends to garner a lot of complaints, because that dip in the wing of the aircraft turning causes the effect of kind of sounding more droning and loud on the ground. So looking at this, we came to a conclusion. Up to this point, our publications stated that when wind is calm, aircraft should use runway 16. So the runway that aircraft use is largely determined by the direction of the wind. You want to take off into the wind. On times that the wind is calm, then airports will publish their default runway, the preferred runway that's used in calm wind. Beverly's publication said that 16, this runway, was our calm wind runway. Well, we looked back at all this data, looked at data we've been collecting of noise complaints, and found that 1.6 might not be the most neighbor-friendly runway. As you can see, year to date, we've gotten the most complaints about traffic off of 1.6, followed by traffic off 2.7. Our data collected over those last 5 years suggested that runway 9, this runway here, taking off in this direction, is a much friendlier option for those on the ground.
Excuse me, can you show me where runway 9 takes, leads to, where it goes? Is it all that way?
Yep, so runway 9. Yep, so runway 9 is here. So if someone is using runway 9, they will take off in this direction. Now, if they're landing runway 9, they're coming in like right here and landing.
But they take off still and come over. So what runway are they using to take off to come over that way? Is it runway 9? Same runway?
2.7. They take off 2.7
Yes,
to come
they'll
into Danvers.
they'll take off 2.7. That's
Madam Chair.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Can we let them finish the presentation, and then I'll allow questions afterwards?
So you see base and final, these are your approach phases of, these are your landing phases of a flight. So just under 15% are about that phase of flight. So of the 26 complaints we've received about runway 9 in 2025, 9 of them were submitted by Danvers residents. So that's these 8 homes, which are right on that final approach into 9, and then 1 of these downwinds. So 6 of those 9 complaints came from 1 individual. So when using runway 9, we've only heard from 4 individuals. And so this is by no means set in stone, this kind of shift to using runway 9 more often. The data that we've seen beforehand and since doing it does suggest that it has alleviated some of the complaints we have been receiving in the past.
Madam Chair, while he's on the slide, could I ask a question?
Yeah, what we can do is, we can have board members ask questions if they'd like. If you would like to make a comment, sure.
Sure, on this one.
Yeah.
You and I have spoken before, and you have an abnormally large number of complaints from 2 or 3 people in Wenham off of 16. So have you normalized this analysis to one person calling 100 times skews, and that's, you laugh, the audience members, but that is happening. One person is making an abnormally large number of complaints on 16.
Yeah.
So have you normalized the data to say that if you take them out of that equation, is 16 still not preferred?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Because, yeah, and you brought up our friends in Wenham who have been extremely vocal. Even taking them out of the picture, we're still contending and have this whole chunk of folks in Beverly.
Okay, so you normalize the data for that anomaly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There was a big discussion with us. We were like, do we just keep the 300 complaints that we got from that one Wenham resident? And we decided we'd have 2 charts that showed normalized, like this is one person, and then the chart with the 300.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yep. So that's out on noise. Of course, I'm happy to answer any questions at the end. I want to move on to some airport projects. The projects that we're doing at the airport are all revolving around the eventual reconstruction of our main runway, runway 1634, our largest runway. So we just finished up an aeronautical study. That's where we look at any obstructions that are piercing our airspace. We found a lot. So that final report was submitted in August 2020. 2025, there are several obstructions, trees, buildings, utility poles that will require mitigation. Almost all of these lay in Wyndham and Beverly. What this has triggered is our minimums have increased. So in really poor weather, when pilot in the cockpit can't see outside, they can still land an aircraft just using instruments. They can guide the aircraft right down pretty much to the ground without being able to have visual reference of the ground. They can take it as low as what we call minimums. So the minimum height that clouds can be. And if you hit that minimum and you still don't see the airport, you have to abort the landing and figure something else out. So our minimums have sat around 200 feet. So clouds could be as low as 200 feet, and you could take that glide down, break out of clouds at 200 feet, see the airport, and still land. Because of these obstructions, those minimums have now been raised. Not only that, but these approaches into our runways are not available at night. So going back again to what we started with and that drop of operations, some sliver of that is due to these increased minimums and those approaches being unavailable at night. Just people aren't able to fly when they used or when they maybe have been able to in the past. Also, in preparation for the runway project, just completed a draft report for the environmental assessment, environmental notification form, and environmental impact report. That draft report was just submitted for comments from FAA and MassDOT in September, and we're awaiting the final report. This year is going to be all about permitting and data collection, so all the necessary permitting that comes along with reconstructing a runway. So what does the runway reconstruction look like? We'll be going into design and construction in 2027 and 2028. We're reconstructing the entirety of the 5,001 foot by 100 foot runway 1634, and then adding 300 feet of paved safety area on either end of the runway. When that's done, we'll have to address and do additional work in the unpaved safety areas of runway 34 to kind of close that up. So 1634 is this runway here. So this entire thing is getting reconstructed. We'll be adding 300 feet of safety area pavement here and here. You might recall that safety area, it can be used for takeoff. It cannot be used for direct landing. So we already have a small safety area right here on the 16 end. So aircraft can start their takeoff roll here, but they cannot land directly on that. So that's what we're adding. We'll be extending that 300 feet and that 300 feet. And then we have to address some grading and vegetation issues down here. That'll probably come 2029, 2030, just to close out that project. I'll touch briefly on some projects that some of our tenants are doing on the airfield. The first one I'm sure you all are very well aware of is the Flight Level Aviation. They're the fixed-based operator at the airport. They're building a new hangar. Construction started on that in September or August.
I think early September.
Early September, construction started on that. Air Bear Aviation, they provide maintenance on the field. They're completely renovating Hangar 4, the adjoining office space and surrounding ramp. That is, sorry, keep going back and forth. Just for visual, Hangar 4 is this one right here. And then the new hangar, you can kind of see some of the groundwork happening right up there. Multi-wing aviation, they are remodeling Building 56. This is the old air traffic control tower. It was built in 1942, I believe, and it served as the airport's traffic control tower till 1975 when it was replaced by the current one. Multi-wing aviation, they have several hangars on the field. They've taken over Building 56 and totally gutted it, totally remodeling it. So if anyone wants to have some office space with a great view of the airport, reach out to them. And then Aviair Flight School, one of the 2 flight schools on the field, they have taken over a portion of what we call Building 45. It's an old Army barrack on the east side of the airport. And they've installed 3 aircraft simulators that take up entire rooms. Really cool. It's a new division of their business, but it's going to provide a way for pilots to get training, to do recurrent training without actually getting in an aircraft and flying. It can all be done in that simulator. And then finally, I want to end on community outreach and involvement in the last year. So in July 2025, we hosted Dream Flights. They're a nonprofit organization that provides veterans with flights in antique aircraft. Really, really cool, neat event. Let's see, 2 Sundays ago, we held the first annual Flyby 5K and Fun Run. We shut down the airport for about 2 hours and had a 5K on the runways. There were about 250 participants. Just recently, the Airport Commission approved a lease with the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum. They'll be moving into a portion of that Building 45. They have been running their museum out of Hyannis, but they've decided to move that up to Beverly Airport. So hopefully within the next year or so, we'll have a full Air and Space Museum at the airport. And then just continued partnership with area schools to promote careers in aviation. This is really spearheaded by one of our commissioners, Jessie Zubrick, and she does a great job getting in touch with area schools. So we go there, we have representatives there at career days, give presentations, just to promote careers in aviation. And with that, that's my planned remarks. So any questions, I would be happy to take.
Excellent. So at this time, board members, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow comments from the board. Public, this is not a public hearing, but in the past, we've allowed, you to go up and maybe ask a question, but then we'll limit it to 3 minutes. But going forward after that, if you had any other questions, because we're going to probably narrow it down to about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes with questions. And then if you want, you email your board members with questions, and then we'll discuss it. Gardner, do you have any questions or comments at this
A
time?
couple of questions. You talked about the drop in first of all, I happen to know the answer to this, but touch and goes represent 2 operations.
Correct.
So as a pilot is training, an important part of that pilot training is touch and goes.
Yes.
So of your numbers, a touch and go represents 2.
Correct.
If you were to extrapolate actually how many without that, what is the profile of the planes that, I don't want to say come in or leave but a distinct one operation event? Do you have a profile? And then the next question is, why is the drop? We knew there was a drop at COVID. We knew there's certain times when the economics are really bad and aviation fuel is high, it causes a drop. But is there a cause to the effect of the drop?
So your first question, without touch and goes, touch and goes represent a huge part of our operations. The folks coming in and not doing touch and goes, those are either folks here flying here for pleasure, just tourism, vacation. We tend to see a spike in October, being the closest airport to Salem. So we see a great portion of non-touch and go traffic centered around tourism. And then the other is business. A lot of those jets coming in, they're folks with business in their region that they're flying to, going to meetings, and then flying back home. The drop, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what's causing the drop. I think a lot of that can go back to, one, some of the weather and those increased minimums, I think, account for a portion of that. And then I think most of that is in touch and go traffic that's dropped. I know one of our flight schools has had a rough year with maintenance on the fleet, so their fleet has been down longer than it has in past years, just for maintenance reasons. So I think that is also kind of shown in that drop.
I'm glad you were able to extrapolate out the complaints, especially, and it's especially telling that 3 people represent a large percentage of the complaints. I'm not suggesting that complaints aren't sound, but when one person is literally doing 300 complaints, that skews things dramatically.
Right. Yeah.
You had 5 curfew, and curfews being a recommendation.
Correct.
You had 5 curfew of, I don't even call them violations, but they were people who flew within the curfew window. Of those, did you discount any that were military or public safety flights?
So none of them were military. We, in general, get very few military flights out of Beverly. I'd have to go back and look exactly. I know 1 or 2 of those flights were what are called angel flights. So this is a nonprofit organization that connects private aircraft owners with patients in need of advanced medical care. And so no cost to the patient. They can meet up with this pilot and fly to a hospital that has the care that they're looking for. I know 2 of the curfew violations listed were for those angel flights. Folks that had to go pick up a patient, they took off at like midnight, or they had just dropped a patient off and were arriving back at Beverly after that curfew. The other ones, the other 3 were just airport users.
But to know that 40% of the 5 were for reasons no one in this room would deny, or if it, often we hear about why is a helicopter hovering over a certain part of town?
Right.
And it's often because it's a public safety helicopter searching for a person, a missing person, those kind of things. So I don't know that you could actually qualify those, but to say this number of complaints related to this safety operation, this power operation, because we know that the helicopters fly technically fly the power lines, things of that nature. But I heard the Coast Guard flight come in. I've heard a couple of military planes come in, and it would be helpful to know if, of those complaints, some of these are certainly understandable reasoning for that, not just a pilot who may or may not know the curfew flew during the curfew.
Right.
Okay. And I think we've talked about, sometimes you get non-BVY complaints. Do you dismiss those? Do you take them out of your numbers? Flights about Logan.
Correct. Yeah, those are not represented
Okay,
in here.
so you've
I
removed
do get a handful about Logan. I will get some about Lawrence as well. But
Okay, but you take them out of your
I take them
profile.
out, yeah.
Okay.
I only count ones that have touched down one way or another at Beverly Airport.
Okay, and I guess I would want to pressure test a little bit more about the 16 not being the preferred runway, maybe changing it to 927. And I have a personal reason. I live at the end of 927. I live on Lindell Hill, higher than the airport. So the planes are actually powering up over my house, and they power down right after it because that's the point of demarcation where they could actually glide path back in. So I probably am at the highest sound profile of the flights taking off 927.
Yep.
So I would like you to look at the omission of the statistical complaints for 16 and consider that it is the longer of the two runways. It is preferred because of its length. If it's calm winds, I think it should be equally split, if not, at least 50-50. But actually still maintain its preference because it goes over Cherry Hill in Industrial Park. It goes over Wenham, which is less densely populated than Woodvale. Woodvale's, of the profile, Woodvale's the most densely populated, followed by the Wenham end, followed by Cherry Hill, followed by going over Wenham Lake, going that direction. So I'd actually ask you to reconsider changing the designation of the preferred runway unless there's a real statistical reason to do so.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Those are my questions. I do, to the chair, this wasn't, you're right, this was not listed as a public hearing, and I'm only concerned that opening comment exposes us to the people who might have been here had they known there was going to be an opportunity for a public hearing. So, your discretion, but I'm concerned about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Dee?
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just a quick thing. Jesse Zubrick, any relationship to Mark Zubrick?
Yes, that is his daughter.
Okay.
She's a Danvers native, but lives in Beverly now.
Okay, thank you. I have a few questions. So, the curfew break, do you base those numbers on complaints?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, so those numbers are based on the complaints I received.
Okay.
I'm aware that there's probably, there are people flying within that time frame that aren't garnering complaints.
Okay.
But the ones tracked up there are just ones that have been reported to me.
Okay. Because I think, airport is open 24/7. I don't think you should be relying on the complaints to get any curfew. Those are data that you have, right? And they're probably going to be more than the 5.
Yeah, there would be more than 5 in the year to date that have flown at, past that or within that time frame.
Okay. Okay. And I should have prefaced this by thanking you for being here again today. I said it last meeting and I mean it. I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel that you've been a little more forthcoming than previous managers, and kind of show some appreciation to the complaints of the residents, and that's appreciated. Did you say in your remark that there was a draft environmental study that was done?
Yes, related to the runway 1634 reconstruction. So in preparation for that, they did a study on the affected areas of that.
And what does that entail? Just what obstruction they have, or is it just like air pollution? Like what does that study entail?
Yeah, so the environmental study looks at wetland impacts, rare species impacts, any sort of change to topography. It looks at socially disadvantaged areas that might be affected. It's a whole slate of anything related to the environment that it considers.
Okay. Do you have any specific action that the airport have taken as a result of complaints from the residents?
I mean, I think that the shift to you trying to use runway 9 more, that was a direct result of action that is within our purview to do. But my authority is very, very limited. The noise abatement program is voluntary. The moment the aircraft's wheels leave the ground, I lose all authority over it. That is preempted wholly by the FAA. So the real true actions that we can take are in scope pretty small. It's a game of inches for us. And so, but within that small purview, sitting down with our air traffic control manager and saying, hey, here's the numbers I've seen. Let's try to use runway 9 a little bit more often and see how that works out, see if that helps. That's kind of what action looks like.
Okay. And then the complaints, when you get them, do you just use them as a data point and statistical analysis, or is there any action that follows?
Yeah, so I like to try to reach out to the complainant, and then I will have, I'll reach out to flight schools, air traffic controllers, folks on the ground. If there's a particular complaint I've gotten and it's a flight school aircraft and they did 15 laps in the traffic pattern, well, I'll forward that onto the flight school and remind them that, hey, if you need to do more than like 5, try going to Lawrence. Do 5 here, go to Lawrence and do 5, and then go to Hanscom and do some. And so there's that follow-up as well as necessary.
Okay. Now, I received so many emails about the airport constantly. And I'm glad that you're doing a lot of due diligence in the way you're constructing everything. But there seems to be a lot of push. People are asking about an environmental impact study. You've probably heard that. I understand there was one conducted at Hanscom base. Are you aware of that?
The Hanscom one, yes, I did hear about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something we can, I don't know who pays for it, or if that's within your purview. It may or may not be. Is that something the airport can consider?
Yeah, the main question would be a budgetary question on that. Hanscom has the backing of Massport, and they have a much more robust budget than we do at Beverly. So that'd be something to see if the FAA or state would fund. I don't know that that'd be something that they'd go for at Beverly, but it's certainly something that we've discussed.
And we've reached out. We've talked to the departments that do the studies at Hanscom and at Logan. Logan, I think, does every single year. They do an environmental impact study like that, but it costs them $500,000 every single year. So when I talked to the gentleman, he said we could do a lesser version and more catered to your airport, but it would be around $250,000.
And to contextualize that, my budget is about $600,000, my operating budget.
So how could we get Massport or the state or whoever, because, and I don't think this is something that should be done every year, because we don't have expansions every year, we don't have constructions every year. I don't know if that has ever been done, but if we're getting, even though we're getting less traffic, if we're getting bigger airplanes, it might warrant something like that. Because just so you know, I look at that study, I read it. Obviously, there are some limitations. But speaking as the representative of the resident, just so you see, and this may be out of your hands, but so you understand where the residents are coming from. When I read some of the findings in the study in Hanscom, it was troubling and actually scary. And I don't know how I can turn around and tell a resident that sees this and says, there's a lot of pollution in the community. And this is beyond noise, right? This has to do with leaded fuel and the kids at the school. And just looking the other way, I mean, I don't know how we do that. Like, help me help my constituent. What do I say when I read a report like this and then it talks about all these air pollution factors? And this study didn't even look at it inside the homes. This was like outside. And it appears to me that if they conducted a study inside the home, it might even be worse.
Yeah.
What do we do? What do we say?
So, a couple things. You touched on the unleaded or the leaded aviation fuel. That, yes, the fuel that's being used by your propeller aircraft is 100 low lead octane fuel. It's still leaded gasoline. The FAA's plan is to have that phased out by 2030. Currently, there's just no viable option that can fuel the entire general aviation fleet at this time. So I want to at least touch on that. As it relates to Hanscom, as Kyle mentioned, we would be open to a study of that sort. It just comes down to a budgetary question. I would also caution against drawing a one-to-one comparison between Beverly and Hanscom. The amount of traffic Hanscom is doing on a good year for Beverly, Hanscom is doing just about double that. And then the traffic mix of Hanscom, they're taking much larger aircraft. Their runway is another 2,000 feet longer than ours. So their operations are very different than Beverly operations. So I certainly understand the concern. On many aspects, it's a concern I share and would love to dive deeper into, but I do want to caution against folks making that one-to-one comparison between Beverly and Hanscom, because we're two very different airports.
No, point well taken, and that's the problem when we have a void. People fill it up with whatever we have as information. Again, and you may, in that process of getting this study done, what I'm hearing is it's a budgetary issue, but Hanscom was able to get some help from the state. Beverly may not be able to get that. How do we go to our legislature? Do you champion that and we come with you? How do we get that going?
So
if
it's
possible?
a request from us to the state.
Okay.
Again, Hanscom and Beverly are not one and the same.
Understood.
And so they're backed by Massport, which is a tremendous economic machine. So there's that funding that just generated by Massport's properties in Logan, Hanscom, and Worcester, that we just don't have that economic revenue stream that Massport is able to provide for those airports.
So have you asked, or do you intend to ask, if we can get help?
Yeah, as Kyle mentioned, it's been a conversation we've been talking with the folks that have done it for Massport, the company that they've contracted out. We've brought it up in meetings with state. I mean, it's certainly talked about.
Thank you. I mean, talk about is really not satisfactory for me. I think we have to do a little more than just talk about. I think, and again, I do believe that you're more responsive than previous managers, but I think on these specific issues for the resident of Danvers, we have to find a way to do a little more than just have it as an idea. Because looking at this, even though we can't have those correlation one-to-one, we know even if it's just half of this, it's already a lot. So take it.
And just to clarify, we're not like just coming up with an idea. Like, we talk about these things and request, and we have a list of requests of improvements and projects that we things that we want to accomplish. And then Massport, the aviation department, the FAA, they all sit in on these meetings and they say, okay, this looks good. Nope, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. And they'll just swipe it away and say, no, you can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. This is okay. So we bring these things to them. But if you guys have a different way to come about it, and raising that kind of capital to pay for this, we're very open to anything. It's just really difficult to come up or have MassDOT or Massport or anybody come up with an extra $250,000 to fund a study. It's just not, unfortunately, on the top of their list, but we do ask every time, so.
Yeah, maybe the jet owners, I don't know. The people who own the jet, they probably have a lot of money. Anyway, I think I'm not getting anywhere. I just hope that you have this as a high priority. We just can't talk about it, at least not anymore, from the Danvers perspective. We have to, if you need us to come to those meetings, we're more than welcome to come and elevate those voices. But reading this was pretty scary. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gabe, did not a legislative body request the Secretary of Transportation to do an environmental study and was turned down?
I believe so.
Correct. So we did ask through our representatives. Secretary of Transportation is no longer with us.
Correct.
Mr. Eng is now in charge. I don't know if he'd be more receptive to looking at that, so maybe that's a route we can go. $250,000 in the scheme of things is not a lot of money, but we don't have it. You don't have it. We need the state to pay for it. So that's where we need to follow up, in my opinion. Gabe, in the beginning, you said jet traffic was a slight increase. Describe slight, and what do you think the next 3 years looks like on jet traffic?
So I'll tackle that second question first. I do think we'll probably continue to see a general upward trend of jet traffic. Looking at back 2024 to now, I think we're up, I want to say about 100 operations, jet operations. So it's that, it's increasing year over year about 100 to 200 operations per year in jets.
Is that jet traffic similar to the small planes where it comes in at certain times of the year? Or is it spread out throughout?
It's pretty spread out throughout the year, yeah. And like I said at the beginning, this year in particular, a lot that can be kind of pointed at, the overflow that we're getting from Boston. When that project is over, we might retain some of those those jets, but I venture to guess a lot of them will return to going to Boston.
Can you limit the number of jets in the airport during a year?
No.
No.
Per federal regulation, I cannot limit the number of aircraft of any type using the airport.
But increasing the length of the runway, will that increase the size of the jets and the number of flights?
No. And, you know, at the end of the day, 600 feet of extra pavement is very small in the aviation jet world. That increase, those dimensions of the runway are a response to what's currently happening at the airport. So the FAA has looked back at our operations for the past years. Their threshold is 500 yearly operations of jets above a certain size. In 2024, we did 766 operations of jets in that size. Year to date, I think we're sitting around 650. So we'll probably meet, if not exceed, the last year's 766. All that's to say is that those dimensions on the runway, that added pavement, is the FAA saying, you already have this traffic here. We need to build infrastructure to make that, give them a bigger safety net when they're operating in and out of the airport. They're not doing that and funding that to say, oh, if we do this, maybe we'll get some more traffic. That's not how the FAA operates and funds projects. So the demand precedes the project.
All right. Thank you, Gabe and Kyle, for coming, at least making the presentation with some specifics. Hopefully, we can continue these conversations. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
You're welcome. Mike?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Gabe.
Hi.
Is it possible to get a copy of everything that you showed us on the
course,
screen?
yeah.
Would you mind emailing that? Okay.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
I believe I have all your emails, but do you want me to send it?
Send it to the town manager.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she can distribute it.
Yeah, all right.
Are you having any problem with air traffic controllers?
We are not.
Okay, good.
So our air traffic control is provided, the building and all of the equipment in it is owned by the federal government. The people inside the building are employees of a private corporation. So the ongoing air traffic control issues throughout the shutdown, we are unaffected by, thank goodness.
It's good to hear. On the Danvers side, we have some fuel tanks, right?
Yes, there are 2 fuel tanks.
Are they getting replaced, or are they getting bigger ones?
No, they were moved.
They were moved?
Yep, so those are owned by Flight Level Aviation, who are building the new hangar. They moved those fuel tanks. So the hangar's going in, and part of it is kind of where those fuel tanks were, so they've just moved the existing fuel tanks to a new location.
Okay. Okay. What you need up there is a restaurant, is what you need.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people like to sit up there and watch the planes take
Yes,
off.
I'd love that.
And as far as the complaints, I think you answered this, but you are getting back to people when they do call? Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate all your info.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, I want to say thank you. I think the presentation was good. I do like everybody's comments here about the environmental thing at the state to help out, but, and I like how you mentioned about trying to change the destination of the flights taken from the different runways. That would be good. The touch and goes are a big, thing with us, the size of the jets.
Yep.
But thank you, and we'd like you to come back.
Of course.
Again, and keep us updated. Please send the presentation to the town manager, which
Yep.
possibly, if residents want to get a copy, she could put that out to send it to them too.
Yeah.
And I did say that we're going to allow about 15 minutes. It's not a public hearing. If anybody wants to come up, not controversial at all, just, stand aside. And
Of course.
Tony, you get 3 minutes.
I just want to say one more thing
Yeah.
too. Sally Kearns, Senator Lovely, and also new Representative Hannah Bowen have put together a bill that's kind of been in the works for years that have kind of requested us to publicly post our touch and goes. There's a whole bill written. It kind of gets stalled every time in the State House. And Gabe and I had a discussion. Hannah had reached out personally to me, and we talked, and Gabe and I talked, and we had a meeting with Hannah, and also we tried to get Sally. She didn't come, but we are publicly posting on our website the numbers that are requested in the bill that has not been voted in. So we just want to let you know that we are trying to be as transparent as possible. And even if something's not getting passed at the state level, we're trying to put our best foot forward and just put it out there. Redacted, we don't put anybody's addresses or phone numbers or anything on it. So, but we just want to at least let you guys know that we are putting that out there.
Thank you. That's good. That's good to know. Thank you.
Can you put the map up there? Or the runways, please?
Tony, you get 3 minutes, remember?
Oh, I need more
All right.
3 minutes, man, believe me.
This normally isn't allowed because it's not a public
Oh, we
hearing.
understand, but-
in the past, it's happened. I want to allow it.
We got to clear things up here. They're not telling you the truth. That's the problem,
All right,
okay? That's the problem, okay? Now, runway 9, they changed the runway 9. Not good for us. All the fumes are coming back into Danvers. When they power up like crazy, we hear it, okay? Number one, okay? Gardner's right what he was saying. First, I have to agree with Gardner, okay? Runway 16, that's the one they should be using. The reason why they're not using it, they've been getting complaints from Beverly. That's why. They only used it for a month. As soon as they started getting complaints from Beverly, they changed to 9. Another problem they have with 16, okay? 16, the problem they have with 16 is when they do 16, they've been telling us for years, we got to take left-hand turns. Well, you know what they're doing on 16 now? They're taking rights. And they're coming back into Danvers, man. They don't want to go into Beverly at all. That's the problem. They don't tell you that. How I know this stuff? I have a radio at home, okay? And I monitor everything. I have to, because otherwise you're not going to get the truth. Just like Sunday, okay? Watch the Patriots, okay? 4 o'clock, okay? Winds were calm, okay? Where are they? Runway 27. They stayed there from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. They never moved, okay? They should not have been on that runway. We shouldn't have been hearing that noise. But that's what happens with these people. Oh, they can't control it. They can control it. We have a big problem here, okay? And we got to get squared away. I've asked once before for a selectman workshop, okay? I asked Mr. Bennett. He said he was going to give it to me. We never got it. I want a selectman's workshop to work on these problems that we have with this airport. This airport is killing us, okay? And I'm going to give you one other one, okay? I walked around to about 75 houses. I talked to people. They tell me no one complains. Well, believe me, no one is happy with this airport. No one complains because they don't bother, like someone told me. For 20 years, we've been complaining. We got nowhere, okay? I felt bad for this poor old lady on Bradford Ave, okay? I went to her door. When she first told me, she was trying to shoo me away. I told her, here, I'm talking about the airport. As soon as I said that to her, she was fine. She remembered me from coming there before, okay? The poor old lady walked over with the walker. She told me it's getting terrible over there. The fumes are coming into her house, okay? The poor old lady, okay? I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth, okay? They tell you no one complains. That's a bunch of bullshit, okay? I'll let it go that way.
Yeah,
okay?
thank you very much. All right, anybody else? Mike, go ahead. Remember,
I'm Mike Trainer, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 5. I actually just have a question on the reconstruction of the 1634 runway, just because that 27 runway really, that impacts Danvers. It's a very dense neighborhood. I live 2 blocks in the direct flight path of that runway, and I can tell you when planes are taking off from there, you can be in your house on a call, and you can't. It's a lot of impact. So I'm just wondering, with that runway being reconstructed, are we going to be taking off on 27 more often? And are we going to be dealing with that for a number of years?
good, yeah, Gabe, just quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for the question. Yeah, during that reconstruction, 1634 will be shut down. And so 279 will be the only runway in use at the airport.
Thank you. Okay, next. Yep.
Just a quick question. When you do 1634 over, are you changing? the
introduce
interior
himself?
Yeah,
function
yeah,
at all?
please mention your name.
I'm sorry, Mike Barker.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Are you changing the instrument approaches at all? And if so, is it going to change the minimums to make it more approachable in bad weather?
The instrument approaches themselves are not going to change. We're still trying to figure out what mitigation of those obstructions look like. But however we mitigate it, we'll get back to those like 200, 300-foot minimums.
I'm sorry, I think you missed answering one of the questions, which is how long is the construction?
Oh, yes, so sorry. That construction, should just be one construction season. So say May to September, October. That's the plan.
Thank you. Ed? Go ahead.
Hi, Ed Pino. On the reconstruction of 1634, question for you. You've mentioned about 600 feet added to the runway, the length. Will it be widened as well?
The runway width is remaining the same. So it's 100 foot now, it will remain 100 feet.
Okay. And the thickness of the concrete, will that
goodness.
increase?
You're testing it's not going to increase, it'll be the same.
Because the only reason is because if you start doing that, you can introduce bigger jets. Years ago, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, we were told that they were going to put on 150 feet for safety, and it ended up bringing in larger jets than what used to be there. So adding this 600 feet or whatever, of course, now the safety area is going to be used for run-up. It's more runway length for, even though it's Class C jets, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Class C jets, when you have a certain runway length, but then you add another 600 feet, there's a list, we'll say, of 20 jets for Class C. Right now, Beverly might only, and I'm not 100%, take on 10 of those, but once you put the 600 feet, you can go another larger Class C jet in that airport. So noise, pollution, the whole thing. Lastly, the big thing is we're missing all the time, and I've said it before, is the safety issue for our town with introducing more jets, that if they're running down the runway at ballpark 150, 140 miles an hour for takeoff or landing, if they don't make it, there's going to be densely, as we know, neighborhoods, high schools, businesses, a lot of casualties. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Todd?
Todd Darnstadt from Woodville. I want to talk to you as a resident and corporate pilot. I want to put that in perspective because that's a good question, but let's get to the issues. Raytheon would never use Beverly Airport because it defaults in our software. The runway for landing is 4,700 feet. Okay, now the only time that in my 34 years we ever used it is when we did a risk assessment. So the improvements to the runway, they're called displaced thresholds, and they're putting the displaced threshold on each side of that runway. That improves the safety margins for takeoff. It doesn't change the landing available for that runway. Okay, so Raytheon as a corporation would still do a risk assessment. The software in the airplane's computer would not default to Beverly Airport as an alternate. Okay, so we keep saying that it's going to bring larger airplanes. Larger airplanes are not coming into Beverly because it's a medium-sized jet type of airplane. I mean airport. With the higher minimums and with the runway under construction, we're going to see less jet traffic in the near couple of years. Okay, now obviously at some point it's going to increase, but for the short term, we're going to see less jet traffic.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else? Maybe a couple more questions. That's it. And Mark?
It's me, I'm sorry.
It's the time. She makes sure you want to hear it, too.
Mark, you ready?
You're the noise
You ready?
maker.
Go.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I have sat there and just listened to what was being said. And as you know, Tony has been working on this issue for 25 years. I've been on it since basically when they cut down all the trees in 1997. And then it all evolved. However, one of the things that I have found is the comment about the noise complaints. And it seems like Beverly Airport commissioners and the manager have latched on to noise. That's not the only thing that happens out there. It's all the environmental impacts. It is the trees, it is the wetlands, it is the noise as well, the leaded fuel emissions, and all of the other emissions that are happening at the airport, and they're all flowing towards Danvers. The reason we don't have more noise complaints, because even I have decided, why am I calling this number? Because yes, there is an admittance that there is a problem, because when I reported, it is a problem. It is a jet going over your house and my house, because that's the way they operate from that location. Because you're on top of the hill and I'm down on the bottom of 95. So the issues that are being reported are selective. They're not constant. And what we have to do is normalize that reporting, because I have been working with Gabe very nicely. We get along just fine. And we're getting a report that Gabe provides for me the last 5 years in regard to the number of jets that are having operations at the airport. My problem is the jets are causing more of a problem than the little puddle jumpers that I call, the little prop planes. So right now, we're looking at 4 months worth of data for the last 5 years. And the thing is that we're sort of succumbed to the fact that, yes, there are jets, but it is increasing. There's a number of operations by jets on every year and every month that we have been tracking.
Sorry, time is time.
Gotta wrap it up.
I can't turn back time.
Wish we could, huh?
The thing is that the number of operations per day is gone from, in 2020, was 5 jets per day that were operating at that time. Now in 2025, it's 9 to almost 10 jets. So there is an increase in the number of flights that are happening, and the flights are not sporadic, they're not recreational, they're scheduled flights. And one of the reports that we've been hearing is that Reykjavik is a flight that comes out of Beverly to Iceland. So I'm not going to take any more of your time, because there's a whole bunch of things. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please email your select board members. Thank you. Gabe?
I just want to make a point that there are no commercial scheduled operations out of Beverly Airport.
Thank you. Okay.
2020 was COVID, so I'm sure there would be a lot.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for, go ahead, Bill, last one. Thank you.
Quick question. I watched the last airport commissioners report, and I was very concerned, and would the board please look into it and have our fire department respond? There were 2 different opinions of whether Danvers had foam. And I'm being told that we do, and I'm being told that we don't. So could we get our fire department to tell us if they feel they have the necessary tools if, God forbid, they have to deal with something?
Yes, we'll have the town manager look into that with the fire chief. Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Thank you. We'll put you back on for more updates.
Of course.
Please continue logging everything and get that report to
And
the town manager.
Yep, I'll follow up with
Yep,
town
and thank
manager
you,
and get
everybody in the
back
public, for your concerns.
Thanks.
Thank you. Does anybody want to take a 2-minute break? I think Mr. Ben. Take a 2-minute break, 3-minute break. All
Set the
right.
timer.
Back. Hello, hello, hello. All right, welcome. Thank you again. That was very good. At this time, the board will discuss handheld electronic vote tabulation for town meeting. First of all, I want to thank Lauren Steves for doing all that terrific work and research. Really, excellent job. And I'm going to tell you the truth, I haven't gone through all of it myself, too, because of all of this. So what I wanted to do is I wanted it to open up to the board members and ask them how they would they want to entertain any discussions on this tonight. And then I'm going to give you my suggestion, what I think. So let's start with Dan. With regards to
I'd like to hear your suggestions.
Oh, you want to hear my
You're the
suggestion? All
chair.
right, so what I would like to do is, I don't know about with all the other board members, have you had a chance to really dig in? I want to spend a lot of time on this. I don't want to, excuse my lack of a better word, blow it off, okay? Because I think it's really good. What I would like to do is I would like to, if any discussions tonight about what we think, but I would like to create a committee of about 3 to 5 people, had board members, maybe submit names to me, and then what I'd like to do is have this committee and then have this be put back on the agenda the first week in December. Because I feel that, I don't... Because,
Madam Chair,
oh, wait a
can we
minute, excuse
ask-
me, out of order. I feel that myself personally, I haven't had the time to really dig in, and I know there's a lot more research that has to be done, and then I think what we would do is then, with that committee, we could instruct the town manager to look into more research for us too. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I don't want to cut it off for her. I think with all this research, I'd want to hear how other board members feel on, do you like that suggestion? Do you want to table, do you want to talk about it tonight? I think that we put it off until December, if anybody has any questions.
Well, I support the idea of a commission, because
Okay.
I've looked at the details, I've
Yep.
looked at what has been presented to us, and there's still a lot of open questions. A lot. And I don't think you should put a December timeframe on it. I think you should get citizens and select board members and town employees who can do the right amount of research and discussion to come to this. And I'll offer my thoughts on what questions I would want answered, but I would support a committee. I would not support a decision tonight, absolutely not. I would not, and I don't think you'll get those answers by December.
So we
But-
might, yeah, right. So I'm thinking December meeting sometime. I'm thinking the first, second, maybe the second.
I'm saying I think
meeting.
that's too compressed. That gives you less than a month
Yeah,
to get
well,
all the answers. and
She's
I'll
given
tell
us
you
a
what-
lot of it, though.
She's provided us one aspect of a larger picture.
But we're going to have that committee, and that's what I'm saying. Well,
But in order to get the answers that need to be answered, it will take more than 4 weeks.
no, I don't really think so. Mike, what do you want to say about that?
I don't want to red tape this thing up. I think we should discuss it today. I think it's a pretty common sense issue. I don't see any problem with having a discussion and then move forward with trying to implement the plan. Get the 3 bids, get the program going. Why go any further? This is just a clicker. We're not doing a heart surgery here, you know? I just don't want to see it all dragged around. I don't see the point.
D?
Well, I have more of a mixed feeling. I'm in general support of the idea of having a clicker. I was a hard no, but after I review all the material that was submitted, I actually review all of it. I feel like, why not? I think it will be good. However, just like you, Madam Chair, I do have some outstanding questions to make sure that we do it right. My first thing will be, I feel that I don't know how we go about it, if it was something that the select board needed to have as a policy, or if it's something that town meeting needs to approve. I will prefer the latter, that we actually have a warrant article that goes to town meeting for approval. That gives it more teeth. But you call it a committee or town staff, but there were outstanding questions that I had to make sure that if we had a warrant article that goes to town meeting, it's solid and can pass all legal musters. Because we had the type of technology, and I know other cities are using it, but the type of technology does everything that we vote at town meeting goes to the clicker. If we have 33 articles at a town meeting and we say, time to vote, 1 minute, okay, then we're gonna wait the whole minute and then tally the result. Are we gonna be able to have our town meeting in one night? So maybe this will make us start to either have less article at town meeting or maybe have town meeting in multiple nights. Because it's not just all in favor, yay, all in no. So that is a question that we need to answer. Another thing will be the initial cost seems like it's fairly manageable, but what does subsequent costs look like year after year? But and then once we get that approved, it will have to go back into the way we vote in general. Do we just use this for certain voting items, or do we use it for the entire town meeting? Because if we're going to use it for the entire town meeting, because I was trying to picture what does it look like, we will have town meeting over 3 or 4 nights, depending on how many warrants we have, what article we have.
Madam Chair, it's hard to hear the member and his comments with the audience.
Sorry, I'll get
No, I want to
closer
hear
to
what
the
you have to
mic.
say, Dee.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying that though I'm in general support of the concept, but I just think that we should find a way to, you call it a committee or volunteers or people to really put together a plan of what does it look like in practice. That would be my 2 cents.
Excellent, good. Dan?
I hate to come up here with a predetermined thought on how I'm going to vote until we've had discussion amongst ourselves and heard from the public. And that takes time, and I think the main event here is the town manager review that we should be concentrating on tonight. It's already 8:20. I think we need to take care of that business first. So I would make a motion that we table this agenda item to the earliest, the first meeting in December, and that gives members a chance to put their questions to you and the town manager to do some research, further research, to try to get the questions answered, so that when we do reconvene on this, we know what we're talking about.
Well, I think I'm in support of this too. You know, I don't want to say what my vote is too, but I do think we need more time, and I want to do that committee, and I think we should table it till December 1st.
You're tabling the discussion to
Discussion.
move forward, not a decision. Because I have a host of questions that I want analyzed.
I would make a motion
and comments.
to table this for conversation to the first meeting in December.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
I'm concerned about unintended consequences. If we race this through, and I understand it's an important issue, and I understand that people have feelings about it, and I'm not suggesting I'm against it. I want to make sure there's no unintended consequences, and we consider fully the questions I have, because we have a process in place right now. And I don't want to go into the details. I'll go into the details in December. And I'll offer them to the town manager ahead of time, so if there's any legal questions, she can look into it.
Well, because, right, we want to have legal counsel, we want the town manager to look into it.
Because the very first question I'm going to ask is it the authority of the town meeting to do this? Is it the authority even of the select board? Or is it the authority of the town moderator to manage how the meeting is run? That's actually a legal question.
Well, I
All
think,
right, so you have a motion and a second.
anybody want to make another motion, or do you?
I made it.
No, he made a motion,
all
and
in
I seconded
favor?
it, to table this discussion till December, to the first meeting in December.
All in favor, want to table it? And with my suggestion, I think, too. Well,
No, his motion is
We're
to
gonna- no,
table this
We're going to table
discussion.
it till December 1st.
First meeting in December.
First
yeah.
meeting in December. And then I want, Mike, Any more comments on you?
No, if we can get this going, if December 1st, we can, get together, have our information ready, and get this process moving, I don't see any problem. I think we have to find out if there is if we have the legal authority to say it. I would think we would. I don't see how, and I'm not trying to dispute you, Dee. I don't see how it would do anything but streamline the meeting. It seems in my mind, the way I picture it, would be a lot quicker. I don't know how it could be quicker than it is. It's already pretty quick now, but it seems like it would be quicker.
I actually, and again, the comments from the audience at this point are irrelevant. I actually agree with Dee. It will elongate it, and I can discuss how it will.
So there's a motion that we table it till December 1st.
There is.
Okay, we have a second? All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're going to table this to December 1st. It's not,
Questions to go.
any questions?
From the board
Questions from the board
to the town manager.
to the town manager? Yeah, we're going to get our questions to the town manager. Okay, Gardner, Mike, Dee, Mo, and Dan, all right?
Madam Chair, if I may, I will send a follow-up email to the board so we can figure out like a deadline of when to get questions so that we would have time to prepare and all of that kind of
Yeah,
information.
because we do have the town manager act to review tonight. Dan's right, we do have tax classification.
We have
we
this
want-
continued the next 2
Yeah,
weeks.
the next, so-
Actually through December. November is a strangely short month.
Yeah, it is.
You have the holiday in
I
the
think
middle.
it's 16 business days.
Yeah, you have
right?
a holiday next week, you have a holiday the Thanksgiving week, and it's a 30-day month, so it is.
And that way, board members can put a lot of thought into it. All right, terrific. Thank you. Let's see, okay, number 7, the board will continue discussion on recommendations by the Town Meeting Manager Act Review Committee. All right. Hold on 1 second here.
What was the lockout event?
Get my papers here. Hold on. All right. Bear with me for 1 second. I lost my paper that I prepared. Here it is. All right. So tonight, we're going to begin the deliberations on the changes to the Town Manager Act. We'll consider the recommendations of the review committee. We also want to consider any items select board members would like to introduce. Thank you for submitting them in advance. Please be sure to bring them up when we get to the appropriate section. We will start with housekeeping items and then move through the document section by section like we did with the previous act. We provided a chart to help you, okay? Summarizes the review committee's recommendations to help you guide this section, the discussion. The goal tonight is to determine the consensus of the board on the items we discuss. Staff will then work with the town council, Kate's here also, to update the red line version of the document to reflect our deliberations. We will then review and discuss the updated versions at an upcoming meeting and entertain motions to create the warrant articles at that time. The review committee recommend a new section to the Town Manager Act related to recall elections. We have been advised by town council that this should be considered as a separate item, not to be included in the Town Manager Act. Therefore, we will discuss the other recommendations to the Town Manager Act tonight. We will then discuss the recommendations related to recall elections as a potential warrant article. Depending upon time, this may happen at our next meeting.
I'm sorry, you say we'll discuss that at our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Just that one part.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Please note that the recall is contemplated throughout the document as its reason for a vacancy in various offices and will be addressed after the board has discussed and decided on a potential recall provision. Okay? So we will start with Section 1 of housekeeping. There are several grammatical changes, capitalizations, et cetera, included in the recommendations. They are summarized on pages 1 and 8 of the flow chart and are found throughout the red line document. We will refer to these all called housekeeping changes. So board members, take a look at that. Section 1? Yep,
Section 1,
yep.
yeah, it's all grammatical or
All grammatical.
all housekeeping. I
housekeeping,
move
yep.
we accept
Yep.
those changes throughout the document.
Yeah,
Pages 1 through 8.
yeah, we're not voting on it, we're just, this is,
Okay.
the clerk's taking
Yep.
notes, thank you.
5 or 2-8?
No, through 8 is housekeeping, I
Yep,
believe.
1 through,
Oh, do you have,
Yep.
mine is 2.
1 through, well,
it is.
1 through 5, because
It's
1
1
through
through 5.
five?
1
the
through
recall
5.
starts on page,
Yep.
the bottom of page 5.
One second, sorry, Madam Chair. I think Gardner's talking about the document, and he's looking at the flow chart. So the housekeeping items are on the flow chart, pages 1 through 8.
Right,
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, thank you,
The revised flow chart.
yes.
thank you.
Should be the same page number.
So it's 1 through 8 is how I have it.
Yeah.
And it's all capitalization.
It's add, yeah,
Add,
capitalize
delete.
the letters of the town election, capitalize the first letters of the town,
Add the word finance, capitalize a C.
school committee, right, they want
Yeah.
that capitalized, and members of the housing authority.
So I don't see a need to go individually. It's all pretty much straightforward. I don't think there's anything there that we would object to.
Comments, anybody? Mike?
No.
Gardner?
No, I agree with all of that.
I agree.
Dan? Dee?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that's going to take care of that. Section 6,
No, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Back to section 1.
I'm sorry,
Section 1, you're on page 9 of the flow chart. Section 1 of the document, page 1 of the document.
Do I have a different flow chart?
Section 1.
Yeah. When did you print that out?
I got it in my envelope.
Okay,
No,
that
I've
was,
got this.
that's
I've got that.
addition
I've
number
got
1, it
this.
was
I've
2
got this.
revised.
This came in late.
That's the town meeting.
Yep.
Yep.
Not this
Oh, yeah, the
package.
change,
Yes,
right,
maybe I'm
okay,
looking.
yep.
Never mind.
He's got it. He's on the same page.
Too much
It's
paper.
okay, there's too much
Packet, it
paperwork.
was-
That's why we wanted to
I got
kind of
mine
table a few
separated. In the
things
front
tonight, yeah.
is the last one, and then in the middle,
This is the old.
Okay, now we.
It's pretty, it's very close.
so on the revised, or the flow chart, we're on page 9.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay.
You, Madam Chair, you'll be good. Just keep an eye. There's only one place it got off.
Okay.
It's Section
Okay.
11, I think. That was the only change. So you should be good.
All right. So we are going to
Just section 1.
section 1.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody look at that?
Yeah, in section 1, I had a question regarding, no, never mind. I'm good with all of the changes in section 1,
Mike?
as offered by the committee.
Yeah,
No questions.
you good with that? Okay, Dee?
No
All right.
questions.
Dan?
All set.
Okay. All right, then, section 2, section establishes the process for the election of the select board members and the process for filling a vacancy. There are no substantive changes recommended. These changes are summarized on page 9 of the chart and page 3 of the red line document.
I'm comfortable with all the proposed changes to section 2.
Same.
Mike?
No problem.
Dan?
Okay.
All right. Section 3, the section defines the powers of the select board. The substantive recommendation change in this section removes the town accountant as a select board appointment. The changes are summarized on page 9 through 10 of the chart and pages 3 and 4 of the red line version.
Section 3? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing.
Page 4.
I will, again, voice my concern about changing the town accountant from the current charter. I think there's a level of responsibility to, or at least I'm trying to think of the right wording, appearance of, that there should be the appearance that a town accountant should be able to respond to the select board with concerns outside the chain of command of going through the town manager. It's not about this person, this would be about no matter who was the town manager. It is a fiduciary responsibility to the town, which I agree the town manager shares, but it is a separate and distinct fiduciary responsibility. And my preference is to have, if it's not in a hierarchy, that that person responds to us from an HR perspective. As a responsible fiduciary agent of the town, I would want them to report to us without us having to go through the town manager. In either direction. We ask that, the town accountant, whoever that might be, or they can say, I'm concerned the town manager has given me a direction to buy all crypto, whatever it might be. And I think that there's an opportunity to dispel any concern about who they report to. My thought, I'm not going to fight it hard, but I offer that in case other select board members feel the same way.
Dan, what about you?
No, I don't feel that way. I'm in favor of the change. In the course of a year, I see the town accountant twice. We see the town accountant twice. Once when the audit is here, and maybe during FinCom. Mass General laws requires the accountant to bring any irregularities to our attention. Is that correct? Kate?
Yeah, Kate, can
If
you
I
go?
may,
Yes,
through you,
Kate, do
Madam
you mind going
Chairman?
up? Yes. For any legal questions, we can, Kate, please let's ask Kate.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the previous speaker, Kate Connolly, Town Council. The town accountant, under the statute that governs town accountants, Chapter 41, Section 55, which says any town may authorize the selectmen to appoint a town accountant. In practice, however, most town managers have been the delegated appointment authority have been delegated by the select board to appoint the accountant. If the board wishes to maintain stronger checks and balances, you may want to retain appointment authority yourselves rather than delegate it to the town manager. That's really about the extent of statutory governance of the town accountant position.
Great. Dee?
Yeah, I think when it came out last time, that was my understanding that this change will be aligning our town charter with current practice. That's what's happening now. Because when I use Dan as a reference, I think he told me that historically, the select board have not been the one appointing the town accountant here in Denver. It's been the town manager. So this change is just to reflect what is actually happening. So I'll support it.
But I'll tell you that the change happened
What
under.
now? That it reports to the town?
That I'll support the change, the recommendation from the committee.
But I also will tell you that has not been, you are correct that they are changing it, but this was a change made under Wayne. And at the time he made the change, there was some select board member opposition to that change, knowing we would throw it outside the charter. But I think town council has offered the fact that we can delegate the appointment, the hiring and all that other work to the town manager. You're right. That person should come along. But we should be the ultimate appointment. And if the town manager, I'll refer to her she now because she is, but if the town manager says, I'm hiring this is the town accountant I want, these are the credentials, I still think it's to this board's protection to have a hand in that. And again, maintain that we are the ultimate reporting authority for that person. I can count to three, as a friend of mine used to say often, and so I am not going to let this go. I'm not going to pass this without offering my thoughts. That's all.
To you, Madam Chair, would it be possible then to revise the language and have the select board as the appointing authority, but then add that language of delegation? Do you think that will like we keep the appointing authority, but then we add the fact that we can delegate the town manager to do it, because that's what actually happens in
But I think
practice.
but I think that's already enshrined in state law.
Yeah.
I'll be open to that.
Well, if I may, some boards, the town manager has the appointing authority, but brings them to this board not to vote on, but to be aware of the appointments, and we have the ability to object. We just, not zoning board, but planning board and other boards manages appointments. But we're aware of the appointments. And if we had an objection, I'm sure Gardner would speak up.
No, but,
Or I would too.
no, you would too, if
We
you
all
had an
would.
objection.
Yeah, we all would.
But you've just made kind of two conflicting statements in saying, we don't have the authority, but we have the authority. And so I'm saying, retain the ultimate authority. But, as we have, delegate to the town manager role to come to us with a candidate that, you know, that they feel is the appropriate candidate in person, but that the ultimate authority and reporting authority comes to us. The ultimate reporting authority of the town manager is to the select board. I think the ultimate reporting of the town accountant should be to the select board in the same manner. That's all I'm suggesting, that's all.
And that's what the crux of the conversation has been for a number of years, is to remove that appointment from this board.
Right. Take away that our authority
to appoint the town
to appoint and be the reporting point of that role. I just,
So you don't want to make the change?
I don't want to make the change. I'm saying strike that to remove to not accept the recommendation of striking the accountant from.
And Chairman,
this
can
section.
we ask the chair of the review committee for her thoughts,
Sally?
reasoning for the change?
Sally, could you please get up, introduce yourself, and please tell us the reasons
Good evening.
that you felt that way?
My name is Sally Calhoun, town meeting member from Precinct 3 and the appointed chair of the review committee. Our recommendation to remove town accountant from from being appointed by the select board to being appointed by the town manager was, as has just been mentioned, we understood it was incorporating the current practice and the many years long practice of the town manager being the person who actually selects the town accountant. Also, our goal was to grant to the town manager the authority to set up the whole finance team the town manager felt was needed in order to operate, to serve as the chief fiscal officer of the town, and to have a team that the town manager creates at all levels of that process, including town accountant, so that that team can act as one, as a unitary team under the town manager to protect and further the financial goals of the town. I also feel that by statute, by Massachusetts statute, the town accountant, no matter who is the appointing authority, has an obligation to come forward if they felt there was something amiss that needed to be reported directly to the select board. So I feel the board is already has statutory protection in that regard. So those were the gist of our recommendation in this regard.
Thank you. And that confirms my thought that the manager should have the control of appointing that department, including.
And the town manager does in a later section, which I fully support. It says the town manager has the rights and responsibilities to structure departments as they see fit. If that includes someone, our appointment of the town accountant doesn't change where the town manager may put that in the structure of the financial aspects of the town. I support the fact that the town manager one of the sections speaks specifically to the town manager's right to create whatever department they want, in whatever structure they want, and move people between them as needed. I support that. Appointing that person, the onus of appointing that person doesn't change that further section of the Town Manager Act.
Seems to me they're in conflict then.
No, we appoint a person, the town manager then decides where in the hierarchy that person is.
Well, we're calling him the town accountant.
Where in the departmental structure that person is. Yes, you would think that person will be the top of the financial department structure,
Not necessarily.
and that's still at the town manager's
Right.
discretion. The appointment of the person is the key part here. But I've dragged this on too long.
To you, Madam Chair, just so I understand too, this act doesn't say anything about reporting authority. It only talks about appointment. So my understanding was that the current practice is the town manager does the appointment, and the town accountant reports to the town manager, and if there's a problem, they can come to the select board. By changing this language, we're adapting it to current practice, but if we keep it the way it is, we still don't have reporting authority. The town accountant, so it will be like we appoint a town accountant that's reporting to the town manager. Because there's no reporting authority of the town accountant on this act to the select board, except in case they want to bring forward something.
Under our current structure, today, before we offer any changes, the select board is responsible for the appointment of 2 people. That's it in the entire town.
That's correct.
The town manager and the accountant.
Yes.
The fact that we currently don't do that is because a former town manager changed that on their own, at their discretion. They discussed it with the board, but it falls outside the charter. So either we're right-sizing the charter to the practice that was recent, within the past 8 or 9 years, was changed, and then take away the fact that that person is ultimately our responsibility, or we maintain it. So do you think that the question is, do you think the town accountant should always report to the town manager, or should that role, because of its very unique situation, report to the select board?
If we're talking about reporting to the select board, that's something new.
No, it's not. When I say reporting, I mean assignment. We're the ones who ultimately hire that person.
We do hire them, but they report to the town manager. That's the conflict.
They also report to us. The town manager reports to us.
That's correct. We hired 2 people.
Because we hired the town manager, she reports to us.
Yes.
The town accountant, if we're the hiring authority, if we're the appointing/hiring authority, that person reports to us.
Is that
However, the
automatic,
town
or
manager manages them.
does that have to be specified, or that's automatic that if we hire someone, they report to us? Is that to you, Madam Chair, to
Kate.
legal? If we are the appointing authority, does that automatically means that they report to us, or we could be the appointing authority, but then they're reporting to the town manager? Because I don't see anything here about reporting to the board.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you to the previous speaker, Selectman Joko. Typically, yeah, the appointing authority would also be the boss, if you will. The person would report to the appointing authority. You might want to be specific about it, though, in the Town Manager Act, which essentially is your charter. Also, I find no statute, part of what you're talking about is reporting and fiduciary obligation to it seems to make common sense that there would be a fiduciary obligation of the town accountant to report any mismanagement of funds, that sort of thing, whether it's to the town manager or the select board. But I found no statute that actually governs that. It's a little bit separate from who they report to, but yeah, typically the appointing authority is also who you report to.
Okay. Thank you.
I think the goal is to bring this document into the current practice where we're at
Or
in
bring the practice back
2025.
to the document.
Right.
So I'm in favor of the change.
I think the ultimate reporting should go, town accountant should be to the select board too, Gardner, with you, so. Taking those notes?
Sorry.
Well, but I think, what's the consensus? I count to 3. I'm happy that
We're at 2-1.
right now, you and I.
You and I, yeah.
And Dan has expressed his.
Oh, no, yeah, we're just,
So,
what are you thinking, Mike, D?
I guess it's another level of security, even though. there's
Checks
a-
and balances, she said.
Yeah, checks and balances, it's
what
another
I
level if we're the appointing authority as well.
I'm sorry, so what are you saying?
So I'm saying, yes, we would be the appointing authority.
So we will, so what I'm hearing is, it seems like we will prefer to be the appointing authority, but that means we will actually have to change current practices.
yes. Change back from a change of practice, yes. But yes, either way, you want to say it.
Could we modify the language and be the appointing authority with the option to delegate it to the town manager?
I don't think we have to codify that here. We always have the option as a board to say, please go and find the right candidate.
To you, Madam Chair, is that correct, to legal?
You could certainly put into the Town Manager Act that the Board of Selectmen is the appointing authority and that the town accountant would report to the town manager. We'd have to specify that, but you could certainly do that.
No, it will be that the select board is the appointing authority, but can delegate that appointment to the town manager.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You got to say it, you got to spell it out in the chart.
You
in the
spell it out
document.
in the charter, if you will, the Town Manager Act. But yeah, and that makes sense too, because you all work elsewhere and do other things during the day, and the town manager is here managing all the employees, many of which she appoints. But if the select board decides that you want to appoint the town accountant, you could still delegate the supervisory authority to the town manager.
So that would be, I think, a middle ground.
I'm fine with that.
consensus where
That would be
we-
great.
We retain the authority.
But put the
then-
language in there, don't just make it part of a vote or something.
Exactly.
Put it- Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm fully supportive of that.
Okay.
Me too. Me too.
Kate and I will work on something,
on that.
and you'll have language to look
Yeah.
at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You good, Mike, with that too?
Yes, me
Okay.
too.
All right, good. So not that we're voting on it, but, all right, so that was section 3. Let's go on to section 4.
Well, and obviously you'll strike recall if that no longer occurs
Yes.
in section 2. Okay.
Section 4, this section establishes the process for the election of school committee members and the process for filling a vacancy. There are no substantive changes recommended. These changes are summarized on page 10 of the chart and page 4 of the red line document.
I'm fine. No objection to any of 4 or 5.
All right, any,
I just have a quick question. Given the fact that if we had recall as a separate thing and that got ratified, will we come back and add it here as a reason of disqualification?
we're going to do them separately.
I understand, but
Yeah,
Yes.
town manager.
So what I think the intention is, and I'll work with council, is if you guys discuss recall, you get a sense of which direction you want to go, then we'll work with town council on where that should be included and how to vote on it in the warrant article. And then, yes, it would be reflected properly within the document.
okay, thank you.
So that'll, as you guys, once we get a sense of what your thoughts are on recall, we'll take it, legal's going to take a look at the whole document so you know what's in front of you to vote and to review. So you know which way the article goes, but it'll make sure they go together.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It does.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we go on section 4?
Yep.
Okay, section 5, there are no recommended changes. Section 5, beyond housekeeping.
No, everything's good on 5.
Everything good, Dave, on 5, Dan?
Yes,
Mike?
okay.
Okay, section 6.
Yeah, is it redundant to, in section 6, it seems redundant to the language about the Mass General laws. We're bound by Mass General laws, independent of actually citing them in this document. Is it redundant to have it in there? If I could ask.
Let me read it. The section addresses the holding of multiple offices. The change references the MGLO and is summarized on page 10 of the chart and page 5 of the red line document.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes.
This is one of the comments that I made earlier. You can put it in, but it's superfluous because it's in the state statute, Chapter 268A. It's the State Ethics Commission statute. You have to comply with it anyway, so you don't need to add this in because you're already required under state law.
Yeah, my concern is the state law could change. You know, the numbering or it could be superseded by another state law. I would say under Massachusetts state laws and stop there and not have the section, chapter, verse.
Oh, I see.
What do you say, Kate, to that?
I can't imagine that the State Ethics Commission is ever going to get rid of the statute, although
No.
it certainly could amend it. But you can add it. It's harmless, so you just don't need it. That was my comment. It's not wrong, it's just unnecessary. But if you have that concern that the statute's going to go away or, be superseded by something that you're going to disagree with, then sure, put it in.
Sorry, Kate, just, if I may, Madam Chair. So your earlier recommendation was don't include it because we don't need it. And I think that's what Gardner was suggesting also. But then I'm just confused because then you said.
I understood Selectman Trask as saying that he's concerned that the statute could be overturned.
You're
changed.
citing a specific statute that may change in the next 20 years in some manner that we don't comport to, that we wouldn't agree with. I'm just saying, just say Mass General law, because that for whatever laws they might be.
I believe he's suggesting being less specific.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine as well. You just don't want to cite Chapter 268A. But
That's
that is
exactly right. I
has
don't want to cite
been-
268A.
Right. That's the ethics statutes with all the subsections. There is no other statute governing ethics. But I understand what you're saying. But it's
I'm okay
superfluous to
with
put this in right now. If you're going to cite the statute, if you want to just put it in and say general laws, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but you guys, just a thought.
Okay, I'm okay. Me too. Mike?
That's fine.
Okay. All right, and as stated earlier, we'll be discussing the recommended new Section 7 recall elections separately. We will continue with the document based on the original numbers. Section 7. All right, Section 7. This section allows the Select Board to employ experts. The recommended change is to delete the cap of $10,000 and replace it with a sum equal to 0.02% of that year's annual budget. The changes are summarized on page 11 of the chart and page 9 and 10 of the red line document.
I am fully supportive of making this a percentage of the annual town budget as opposed to a hard number
Yep.
because of inflationary reasons, up or down. And I have no other offers
You good,
on that section.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm fine, me too.
Yeah, that's-
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Section 8. Section 8, this section authorizes the Select Board to appoint a town manager. The recommended changes in this remove the residency requirement for the town manager. They are summarized on page 11 of the chart and page 10 of the red line document.
I'll start out with my change would be to make it, remove residency in Danvers, but make it a contiguous town, Danvers or a contiguous town. I think that if we remove it entirely, what if we get someone from Wellesley? Great candidate, wonderful candidate, meets all the criteria we'd want, but they live in Wellesley. I think residency should be established within 6 months in Danvers or a contiguous town.
And I disagree. When we hire the next town manager, we'll have a list of criteria that will look at their qualifications, a series of questions, and one will be, will you live in Danvers? Depending how they answer, that will be part of the conversation in making the decision for
Amongst the
that
board,
person.
for the-
But I wouldn't make it a requirement. It's something that a future board will or will not consider based upon all the other mitigating factors that they would want to use to hire a town manager. It may be important, it may not. but I think we want to get the best qualified person for the job. Where they live may have a bearing, but it's not the ultimate decision-making. That would be a disservice to the town.
So I have a legal question based on that. If we went with that path, and I'll state it and then ask the town council. Can we disqualify someone if they say no? Do we open ourselves up to litigation if it's not
Kate?
here, that they have to live in a specific locale, but we make it a condition, but we make it part of the job requirements or disqualify them because
It's part
you
of the,
say no?
it's part of the interview process.
Well-
The interview process is private in the beginning.
Yes, that's
Yes,
true.
Right.
It's private, but
When we
however,
bring forth two,
if
three
a
strong
candidate says,
candidates.
I am the most qualified candidates, and you disqualified me because I said, no, I wouldn't live in Danvers or nearby town, do we open ourselves up to potential litigation because of that? If we don't say, this is part of our charter.
We say they don't have to live here. Or we're removing the residency requirement. It stays mute where they live. But when we interview candidates, it could be a factor.
That's the question.
That's the question.
The question is, if we remain mute here, but you make a qualification in our
Interview process.
interview process, are we opening ourselves to potential problems?
I don't think.
Can we maybe?
Legal opinion. Kate?
You can have multiple requirements, such as being in the office certain hours, 5 days a week, and it's up to the candidate to get himself or herself here. And if they want to rent an apartment, whatever they want to do. It's not a direct discrimination to say that you have to be a resident, but there is no statutory requirement for it. Chapter 41 of the general laws does have statutory residency requirements for certain positions, and town manager is not one of them. So I would not recommend making it a requirement, but as I said, you can have other things such as hours that they've got to be in the office if you're not going to allow remote working and that sort of thing.
Okay.
What are you thinking, Dee?
Oh, I do agree with Dan. I think that, yeah, we want to get the best candidates, and it's upon us during the interview, or the board at the time during the interview process, to determine if they want to hire someone who lives in Wesley or not. I mean, I don't think that where they live should explicitly dictate them getting hired or not. And then the idea of having close by towns is so subjective. I mean, you could live in Danvers and someone lives in Peabody and get to town hall before you do. So I don't know how we define those towns around. So yeah, I'm in favor of removing
It just makes it difficult. You start putting a radius, contiguous, it just, either they live here or they don't. And if we require that requirement, it'll enable us to reach a bigger pool of candidates.
I also had a thought where we could think of keeping it with the option of waiving by the board. That's also.
It's kicking the can down the road, Dee.
Exactly.
Right,
That's
we're here to,
just-
let's make a decision.
Yeah.
Too, yeah, but you're right.
But no, I'm in favor of removing it.
Mike?
Yeah, I was a hard no before, but I think I'm okay with removing it. I think Sally said it best. I mean, there's communications today. There's so many ways to communicate. Public safety people are here, so there's no real emergency for a town manager to have to come out at 2 in the morning. They can get here at 3 and be all right. So,
The first responders are here.
yeah. And I know that's a lot, and I know a lot of people still feel that way from some emails, but I think it's just a different world, so I think it's okay.
Okay, me too. I was at first thinking about required to live here, but as we know with the candidate, we want to open up that pool. So I would wait that they don't have to live here too. All right, any more discussion on that? All right. Let's go to sections 9 and 10. The only recommended changes are grammatical, section 9 and 10. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Section 11, let's look at that. This section outlines the Select Board's authority to remove the town manager. The recommended changes include the payment of unpaid salary at the time of the removal. These changes are summarized on page 12 of the flow chart and pages 12 and 13 of the red line document.
So the only thing that, there's a section here that talks about the modification of payment. I'm concerned about putting in hard numbers, or this is a contract, what we pay the town manager in the event of a dismissal or of a suspension is a contractual issue. That's, the town manager may say, hey, I really want this job, but if you suspend me, I want payment at X. And I think you're removing a contractual negotiation point by specifying 3 months, or whatever the number, up to next 3 calendar months. I'd prefer not to have that there, but again, I'm offering my preferences and want to hear what the other board members feel. I think it's an important negotiation opportunity.
I think the current language already had 3 months in there.
No, according, this is redlined, and it says everything in red is added.
Yes, but before the red one, on the little chart, the flow chart, there's a deleted language that said 3 months. So the current language.
I realize
had
that.
3
What I'm saying is, we have an opportunity here to change even language as it is, not just, this isn't just a correction activity. It is also, not a let's get better wording or more specific wording or the recommendations of the committee. We also have opportunities to modify this in a way that's more reflective of the way we want this charter to work. And I'm saying, in either case, I think we should remove the 3 months and should say, I would change it to in compliance with contract language agreed upon, or something to that effect. I think that adding 3 months is I think specifying a number takes away that opportunity to negotiate with the town manager.
When I followed the committee discussion, because here we're talking about suspension, so I don't know how we discuss in a contract. Okay, when you're gonna do something really bad and we're gonna want to fire you, we're gonna pay you or not pay you. I think
Just at its discretion.
having that as a contract discussion is very difficult because we're hiring you for all good things. The discussion seems to, and maybe Sally can speak better of this than what I saw on DCAT, it was that the way the current language is written, you could dismiss a town manager for any reason, but you have to pay them 3 months, no matter how outrageous the reason is. And their concern was that the board needs to have a little bit of discretion into determining, do we really want to pay this person an additional 3 months after they've stolen $5 million? So
That's cause.
So
That's cause.
That's cause. This one here says, in any cause.
Right, so the $5 million theft happens. And as a select board, I would feel really uncomfortable giving that person another 3 months
gone.
of salary. And this takes away that discretion. And it's also a contractual obligation. They may say, I like everything you're offering, but if I'm going to leave, it takes the average of 6 months for a town manager to find a new role in this industry. And I want 6 months, and we're happy with everything they offer, including salary, and that's a negotiation point. For cause should be for cause. I just don't like the 3 months in there.
I'm confused. So are you saying that the current text was already a problem?
Yes, I am. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying the changes that that are recommended carry with it something I felt was already an issue. So it's not, I'm not saying I don't like the changes. I don't like the fact that it says 3 months in there. For cause is for cause. And it's also a negotiation point on both sides.
We need Kate up there at all?
Probably, yeah.
Kate, you want a question? Good, we asked Gary.
What's the specific question?
Well, I mean, I'm confused because the current language specifies that automatically we will pay 3 months if we dismiss the town manager. The proposed language says that it is at the discretion of the board. So I'm not sure what the for cause means, like all those legalistic words. My understanding of this change is that if the board deems the suspension or the reason of the suspension outrageous, they could decide to only do 1 month instead of the whole 3 months. Instead of having it automatically give them 3 months right away.
Or it could be automatic. If someone, if you want to fire the person for doing something illegal, yeah, you do want to consider whether you want to put this 3 months or 6 month period or whatever it is in there. Because then you're stuck with that and you can't, you've got to abide by it.
Not if we do it at the discretion of the board.
Right, so if you take out the months, the specific amount, and put it at the discretion of the board, then that gives you the discretion, yeah.
And my only difference is, to that point is, based on contract, similar to what Dan just convinced us about residency, I would think a future board would negotiate and say, you're gonna, if we suspend you 3 months, unless it's for cause. And I would rely on the negotiation and the contract that we set with the town manager to guide that, as opposed to putting automatic 3 months no matter what.
No, it says up to 3 months.
That's legal and that addresses both. If it's for cause, then it's at your discretion. Otherwise, you can certainly put a time limit in there. If you decide to terminate, give the person 3 months or whatever, except if you terminate for cause.
But it says up to 3 months.
That would be fine, too. Either way. I don't think, either we add, except, language that says except for cause, or we take out the 3 months as an automatic. And it says up to 3 months, you're correct.
Yeah. So it's not automatically 3 months. It could be 1 month.
Up to.
It could be nothing. It could be 2 months. So that.
I'm comfortable either way. Either remove 3 months as a number or add cause to this content. And I'd rather add cause to this content.
I agree with Gardner, add cause. With cause, there's 0.
Yeah.
The door is there.
Yeah, you've embezzled.
So, I just so I understand, when we say with cause, for what other reason could we do a suspension without cause? I'm confused.
We can meet and decide that time for the town manager to leave without cause. There's no reason. We've decided as we can hire, we fire, and we would give them up to 3 months pay.
Okay.
Not cause means just underperforming. Cause means they did something really
Right.
bad.
Right.
So can you do a suspension to you, Madam Chair? Can you do a suspension for underperforming?
Not a
Oh, you
suspension.
don't want to
it's-
specify it. I don't think would you want to?
I'm not a labor attorney, so I don't
think you
know
wanna
the specifics of, I'm talking about termination. Suspension, typically
We're not
that would
suspending,
be
that's
because-
different. We're terminating.
Suspension would be because they did something wrong, maybe not something egregious, but
Okay.
if it's
Suspension is don't
underperforming,
come to work for 3 weeks.
yeah, if it's underperforming, you wouldn't suspend them, you'd maybe put
Yeah,
them on
they've done something that
probation.
needs to be investigated and innocent until proven guilty, but while the investigation is going on, we're suspending your duties.
I'll
And
be
yes, we're
okay
going to
with-
pay you.
I'll be okay with adding costs as well then.
Okay, so
Add cause.
add cause to the language here
Mike,
somewhere.
you good with
that
that,
says-
too? I think so, too. Good point.
And I just for clarification, I think Kate and I have it, but leave in a time frame or no time frame at all.
I don't mind leaving the 3 months as long as we say that for cause, we have the opportunity to just basically cut you off.
Okay.
Don't embezzle
Sally,
5
would you
million.
like to get up there? Sure.
As I recall, and I don't have all my notes with me, but we went around and around with this a lot at the committee meetings as well, and felt similarly that there should be a different provision if it's for cause or not. But I think, we added that at the discretion of the board language, but what we were trying to do is follow what we understood is in the contract currently. We were basing this language, I think what we were trying to do is reflect the language in the advertisement for the position and in the language in the contract or the draft contract or the then current contract at the time. So I just want to add that as a caveat. You may just want to check to see if that's so.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of tailoring this to a contract.
But
you
however, cause could be they didn't follow the contract. They broke the contract.
The question is, would you be breaking the contract if you didn't provide for in the contract?
If,
We need the right to break the contract if-
Right.
with cause.
yes. Yep. I'm glad to hear it's not just a point of deliberation here, that you guys also had this conversation.
Any questions for Sally? Any more?
No,
I'm
she
still in
just- she
favor
just
of
spoke.
You're good?
just putting
Okay.
in cause.
All right, cause.
Okay.
We'll see how that looks
Right.
next go around.
Is that good? Go around,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's move on to section 13, please. This section outlines additional duties of the town manager. The recommendations in this section requires the town manager to inform the select board of organizational changes, all personnel changes and litigation. They are summarized on pages 13, 14 of the chart, and 13 through 18 of the red line document.
Did we, I'm sorry, did we miss the section previous to that about receiving such compensation? Which I'm all in favor of, it's just minor changes.
12 is not substantive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I just want to make sure we're being thorough, that's all. Okay, so back to 13, which
13,
is
yep.
special powers,
Yep.
superhero powers. I'm very comfortable with what's here.
I think on this section 13A, we're gonna revert back to they cost out town accountant, so we're gonna put it back. Because we said we retaining that authority with the possibility of having the town manager do it. So that language should go back.
I'm sorry, which section A?
13A, page 13.
It says delete town accountant.
Yes, so we're gonna undelete it.
And I think this is where we differ. I still think she has the ability to, I keep saying she, the town manager has the ability to structure
For departments.
departments,
Right.
commissions, boards
We want to keep the town.
in a manner that is best for the town manager's structure.
Okay.
It's just, appointing and directing are two different things. And I support, I would say she has the ability to appoint the town accountant structure and the financial structure however she wants.
Okay.
If I may, Madam Chair, for clarity, further along D, there's a section, you'll come up to it later, where it would have added the accountant as an appointee of the town manager. So what I think what you thought you read there. So you'll see that later.
Okay.
So we would correct that to be consistent with your recommendation.
previous one.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Dan,
Okay.
you okay? Mike?
It's okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, in section B, the last sentence says the town manager shall notify the select board of such change. Is that is the language in the charter necessary? We expect the town management role to always notify us of changes and so on and so forth.
Right, but I think it should still stay there. 'Cause
Okay.
I think we had some examples last time where people weren't notified about some things. So I think we should leave it.
Then the question about notify is prior to or after. And I don't want to get into that whole swamp.
So we're looking at B. Do you see that, D?
They could do.
Yeah,
What are you thinking?
I'm okay with
Okay,
leaving the
leave it.
language
Leave
the
it,
way
me
it
too.
is.
Dan?
It doesn't have to notify us before the change. It just, once there's a change, we should be notified.
Yeah.
Yes, that's,
Right. Yeah, fine, I
Good?
just think it's
Okay.
redundant, that's all.
All right, so let's go to C. Did you say C? Let's look at C.
And on D, the last sentence, the town manager will notify the select board of annual compensation of all town employees. That happens as a natural town, we get that report automatically. We are asked, we are given the management compensation plan, and every employee's salary is a matter of public record. There's a opportunity to streamline the language so there's no potential ambiguity. And taking that out, leaving this here is, yes, it's absolutely okay, but it's also it's a provision of the job. The job is you've got to tell us what you're going to be paying people. And actually, you have to tell the public what you're going to be paying people. So is it redundant?
No, I think keep that again, too, because I think we have some examples at the end of the last term where some people got raises and we didn't find out about it, so.
I don't know when that occurred unless it was the year I wasn't here, because if people got raises,
That's
if
right.
people got raises that you didn't know about, that would be an issue.
Yeah.
But I would find it hard to believe that the management compensation plan that's presented wouldn't have enumerated that. But, okay. It's a matter of public record.
And you went to D, but I wasn't quite sure what C, the language at the end of C there.
C,
I'm not sure what it really means.
collective bargaining?
Yes, so what
Sally,
are we adding there
Can-
at the
I'm sorry.
13C page?
14.
Sally, please.
Where she has a different page number.
What was the question in particular?
13C.
Page 14.
What was the rationale of adding that language at the end?
That the town manager shall notify the select board of every such appointment and removal? That language?
Yes, and even before that, unless otherwise provided in any applicable collective bargaining agreement. So what are we trying to achieve?
Well, the language of this section says that the town manager can appoint based only on merit and fitness.
Yes.
And can remove officers and employees, except as provided in Chapter 31, which is the civil service statute. But the town manager, if you're not civil service, the town manager could fire an employee on 5 days' notice. And then we added, unless otherwise provided in a collective bargaining agreement, if the employee who was being fired was part of a collective bargaining agreement, the collective bargaining agreement would dictate the terms and conditions of any discharge of employment.
So the current practice, like I'm sure we have employees that are part of the collective bargaining now. What happens if they have to be dismissed?
Well, I would assume that if an employee was being dismissed, the union representing that employee would challenge the dismissal. So this is really just trying to recognize within the Town Manager Act that the collective bargaining agreement would supersede the town manager's ability to remove somebody with 5 days written notice.
All right, because there might be a civil service hearing. to
Civil
determine that.
civil service would be one set of rules that would apply.
Yeah.
And then there's collective bargaining agreements. And then there's some employees that don't fall within either of those categories. So it was really just a way to try to fold in recognition of collective bargaining agreements, setting forth what the obligations are to terminate an employee.
Because I think it seems to me that adding that language, we taking some of the town manager authority away. Because now they have to like.
Some of it is already taken away by the state.
Well, not so much by the state, but by the collective bargaining agreement. So let's say a collective bargaining agreement said that, required that but before an employee could be discharged, they had to be given a potential, what are they called, PIPs, an improvement plan. They had to be given 3 months to meet expectations that have been set by the department manager or something. Well, the town manager would have to abide by that, what's in the collective bargaining agreement. The town manager wouldn't be able to just discharge that person with 5 days written notice.
Oh,
And it wouldn't
okay.
be, and it's true that I suppose one could look at that as taking away the authority of town manager, but that provision in the collective bargaining agreement was bargained in exchange for other things. So it's too easy to say, oh, we gave up some authority. It was usually a concession that was made to gain something else in the course of bargaining.
So if that was already taken away in the course of bargaining, is it redundant to have it here?
Well, I suppose you could argue that it is, but what we were trying to do is, since there was already an exception in the old language, the current language, for civil service, we thought the recognition of collective bargaining agreements that should be here too.
That's important.
Okay.
I think that's important to recognize that.
Yeah, I support that. I support the change
Okay,
being
thank you.
offered. If we're on section F, I have a concern. It's the top of page 16. May be required by the select board at least monthly, a report of operations. You struck full and you struck all operations, I think is good. Why are we setting a time frame of at least monthly? We get a town manager's update at every select board meeting. It is the salient operation changes. It doesn't speak to every operation change. We don't hear at these meetings, what's the next road paved? What's the next telephone pole replaced? It's the salient thing. So I'm glad they removed full report and all operations. But is there a reason to put in the words at least monthly?
Would another town manager change it the way it's operating now? Is that why it has to be
The
set
town
up?
manager works at our discretion, and if our discretion is that we ask that town manager to report monthly, or every meeting, or whatever it is, that's still us managing the town manager.
But does this also force that behavior by the town manager as well as us? Does this just back us up by saying at least monthly?
I'm just wondering if it's necessary. And again, I'm trying to get rid of unnecessary words, just, I don't want to call them filler
I think
words.
I understand Select Board Member Gardner consent here. We don't meet in July, for example. So if we have a report in June and another one in August, are we then violating this act? So, yeah, so maybe, because he's right, we have the
But
discussion.
we're all doing it together.
Exactly, right? So we have the discussion of getting a report daily if we choose to. So maybe the monthly is not necessary.
And right above it says, shall render it as often as may be required by the select board.
Yeah.
So is the words at least monthly necessary?
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not
I
necessary.
agree. We probably don't have to set that.
So the consensus is, I'm hearing, the consensus is we can remove the at least monthly language.
Correct.
I'm helping Kathy.
I'm sorry, I had to step out.
It's
That's all right. And,
this was an easy one.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
I'll try to.
And I hate to be nitpicky, like I said it last time, but I got a rare compliment from Mark to say, yes, this is a long-lasting document. We should make sure we make it as accurate as
years.
possible. At least, yes, 20 years. He said 10, but that's okay. All right, thank you.
Are we all good with that?
Yep.
So let's go to section 14. Section 14, 15, 16, and 17, the only recommended changes are grammatical.
Oh,
You see that?
wait a second.
14, 15, 16, and
Yeah,
17.
you're right, all grammatical.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Nope.
Up to end.
K, page 17.
Page 17,
He's back on section 13.
Yep.
13, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry. K, I get confused with this blue section 17.
Yeah,
It's
me too.
Page 17. There you go, I had it right the first time. So, town manager shall have the authority to prosecute, defend, compromise all litigation, blah, blah, blah. And the judgment of said town manager may be necessary. The town manager shall keep the select board informed regarding any such legislation, and I'd like to add in a timely manner. Now, I realize we took month out above, but here, litigation, we should be notified in a timely manner, and that would be at the discretion of the board, if that information was given to us in a timely manner, or do we feel that it went too far before we were informed, without getting into specifics?
I like the concept of timely manner. I would actually like to say when filed with updates. I'd like to know, as soon as the town manager feels that they have to litigate something, I'd like to know. I'm not asking for approval authority, I'm just saying,
Well, litigate, there's also the need to investigate. Do we find out about the investigation after everything's done? Should we be told earlier? Granted, nobody's guilty until proven otherwise, but I just think we need to be informed of any litigation in a timely manner, and the board will determine when it's given to them if that was timely or not, depending on the situation, which I can't anticipate.
but I guess I'm worried about the subjectivity of in a timely manner.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm just worried about the legal ambiguity
No, I
there.
understand, and the presentation from the manager would say, because of a need to keep it confidential, but now we're going to tell you, and here's what's going on. At that point in time, we can decide if we were informed in a timely manner.
Because, you're right, because right now the active practice is on a regular basis, at least annually, if not more, we get an update on what litigation
Those
is
are
out there.
litigation, I'm talking something more egregious, not the normal run-of-the-mill lawsuit.
I think by adding the time, we're adding a level of subjectivity that could cause problems. Because timely manner for you might be too late for me.
It's up to the board. There's
That's
five
correct.
of us.
That's correct. So that will, it adds, because I might think 1 month is timely, you might think
But
2 weeks.
we're not talking about normal run-of-the-mill updates. We're talking about
Would our attorney have an opinion on that?
Another,
litigation.
And this was for the town council to you, Madam Chair. Another thing is, depending on the sensitivity of the subject matter, we may not have to be informed. Is
Well,
that-
we
Well,
should be
again-
informed on a yearly basis on most of the litigation, any litigation. But there are certain personnel issues. That's a different story. And that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah. Right, but because we are the manager of the town manager, we should know of the town manager's actions I agree with you, Dan. I think there are specific ones that we should know about early on, at the time we file this.
Let's get legal opinion. Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, this is really more of a policy thing. There's no legal requirement by which the town manager would need to inform you. A timely manner is typically the language used. I can see where that's vague, because you're right. Timely for one person might not be timely for someone else. but
Timely for the board.
There's so many different, right, timely for the board, but again, how do you quantify that? But as somebody's already suggested, there's litigation, and then there's, investigations of a very sensitive nature that maybe the board can't know about right away, or maybe the board should know about right away. You can't generalize. So that's why a timely manner is what people typically fall back on. I know I'm not directly answering the question, but it's not a legal thing so much. Again, based on what I'm saying, that there's litigation where the town manager might decide that to sue or defend, or may have to defend against a lawsuit regarding money, but then you might have some kind of a claim against a town official that's of a very sensitive nature, and that might have to be done a little bit more discreetly for some time, and maybe depending on who's the investigator, maybe it's not something that the town manager would be authorized to share with people right away. So that's why you
Well,
can't.
we're not saying right away, though. I'm not saying right away. It's in a timely manner.
Right, that's why you
Yeah.
sort of fall back on it in a timely manner,
And it's a policy.
because it's such a broad
you wanna add it,
range
I'm
of
fine.
things.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you, Kate.
So we'll add that, okay. So we are on to,
And I'm sorry, and I did not send this, but section 17, I just had a quick question on page 19. If for any reason a vacancy occurs, blah, 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 the members of the Board of Health appointed shall organize for the proper conduct of their duties and should possess all the power and right and shall be subject to all the duties and liability conferred or imposed by the law upon Board of Health of towns. But in the performance of their duties, they shall be subject to the general supervision and direction of the town manager. I don't know if the word and this may not be for now, but the use of general supervision there is so vague, and I don't know if that was purposefully left that way, because I know local board of health are also subject to Mass General Law of some of the things that they have to do. Can we be a little more specific as to what the role of the town manager is as far as the Board of Health is concerned? And if the Board of Health wants to do something and the town manager opposes it and is contrary to Mass General,
I think that's why it says general supervision.
what does that mean?
It's wide open.
Above it, it says you have to comport to the law. First and foremost, you have to comport to the law. Right above it, it says exactly that. A Board of Health member is compelled to follow the law. So if the law happens and you want to enact something that is within the law, the town manager could not say stop. However, your general management, things outside that legal definition or just, I don't want to say restriction or condition, is they may say, I want to have a Board of Health meeting every 2 weeks. This is an issue where we're having a rise in whatever. I want your board to do X. It isn't in the face of the law, and I think you're covered by what you're saying. Law comes first, but the town manager has general management. That doesn't supersede law.
Okay.
That's how I read it, but if you feel differently.
do we want legal opinion, Kate, please?
I would concur with that description. Chapter 111 is the main statute that governs boards of health, as you alluded to. Chapter 111, Section 31, for example, allows them to adopt reasonable rules and regulations, and they wouldn't do that under the supervision of anyone but themselves.
Exactly.
But they could be supervised for procedural things by the town manager. So that's why it says general supervision, because she's not going to monitor everything they do. They can, unlike other boards that have to have public meetings on their boards, boards of health are allowed under that statute to adopt rules and regulations because typically they're dealing with things of a pretty important nature, public health and safety.
Yes.
But general supervision means, she wants them to have regular meetings, or she wants them to do, to come in more often when there's a certain issue happening in town, that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
You good, Gardner? Dan?
Yep, fine.
Yes.
Okay. Did we say section 14, 15, 16, 17, we said was for grammatical?
Okay.
Right, we're good with that. Let's go to section 18. This section is about the Board of Assessors, and the recommended changes are essentially grammatical. So look at section 18.
Good with that? Good with 19?
We good with 18?
Yep.
Okay. Section 19, 20, and 21, the only recommended changes are grammatical too.
Yep.
Okay? Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
Okay. New section. This new section is recommended by the review committee and establishes the town manager as the appointing authority for the town accountant. The summary can be found on pages 15, 16 of the chart and page 23 of the red line document.
I think this is the one I was referring to earlier.
Yep.
Yes.
Town
This is
manager,
a no.
yep.
Based on earlier.
Let's strike that whole thing.
Yes, straight, yep. Section 22 and through 32. Discussion
I'm sorry,
on that?
before we move on striking the whole thing, I think an important section here to speak to the concerns people had is, the second half of that, said town accountant shall be subject to the general supervision and direction of said town manager. That's what we were trying to say. We appoint, town manager supervises. So, but if you're striking the whole thing, you're striking the whole thing, so.
And Gardner, or sorry, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think that goes back to that paragraph in 13A. Yeah,
Yep.
so they all coordinate.
I just happen to like that language about you having the authority to supervise
Yeah.
while we maintain this authority to appoint or delegate. Yep.
Section 22 through 32, grammar changes again?
31.
Oh, I'm sorry, 22 to 32.
Well, there was, in section 28, which actually is now back to 27, you just have to modify the discussion about, the town accountant as CFO, does they still maintain that in the, is that still appropriate or accurate?
Is
Let me
that
find it.
legal, right? CFO, 8 on,
Section
Section.
20, I guess it was the old 26, page 27.
27.
Oh, it's just grammatical, I
just grammar.
apologize. It's
Yeah.
grammatical, I
Yeah. There's no
apologize.
changes to that,
I
no.
apologize.
All right. And then, did you review the other sections, Gardner?
Section 35,
33. Well, let's go to
okay,
33.
fine, you
Section-
said these, okay,
Yep,
yeah.
section 33, this section is related to the Finance Committee. The recommended changes are mostly grammatical and are related to the terms of the first Finance Committee appointees. The changes are summarized on pages 18 through 19 of the chart and 30 through 32 of the red line document.
I think there was one ahead of that.
I don't think so.
No, I had a comment on a section ahead of that. We kind of, page 29, because I'm losing track of what the original sections were. Page 29. To the town manager shall also submit to the select board a statement showing revenues received by the town, and the town manager shall report to the select board the probable amount required to be levied and raised. I'm trying to figure out why I noted that, or why I circled those.
On section 33?
It is the original 31.
Okay, 31, okay.
Yep. I guess I'm all right with that. Never mind. I'm okay with that. These numberings are screwing me up. Yeah.
Hey, Madam Chair, thank you for being patient, as this was a difficult thing to work through with all the changes.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So I apologize.
We're getting there.
Okay, so
Which page do you want to be on now?
we're going to go to the new section. Recommended by the review committee requires this act to be reviewed every 20 years.
So what page is that on? Page of the document you're looking at?
33.
Okay. So actually, before we get there, back on page 30, the original 33, it appears that this is redundant to Section 9 of the Town Meeting Act, and do we need to enshrine it here? It is almost word for word the Town Meeting Act, Section 9. And it's not actually a town manager duty. It's a definition of the Finance Committee, which is in that other document.
Mm-hmm.
Is it redundant to have this here? Is it actually appropriate to have it here? It's not a town manager function.
Can you just repeat this section in town meeting?
Sure,
Act, so I
page
can-
30, the original section 33
Yep.
is redundant to section 9 of the Town Meeting Act. So if we were to look at section 9 of the Town Meeting Act, you can go back in this document, you would find that it's almost, which starts on page 11 of the first part of this book.
Oh, we're really going to get that.
It is exactly, it is the same language. Well, it is, there shall be a finance committee consisting of. Here, there shall be a finance committee consisting of. I'm saying that it belongs in the Town Meeting Act. It doesn't belong in the Town Manager Act. Was my thought process.
Sally, do you want to comment on that, please?
Yes, thank you. That language appeared in both acts as we reviewed them. The committee members questioned too why it's in both places. And though I don't know the answer, it is in both places. The Finance Committee is unique to the town in that it works very interactively with this board and the town manager. I suppose for that reason, to me, it seemed appropriate that it be mentioned in both acts. Whether or not it has to be, I don't have an answer to that. But in the two acts that we were given to review, there's language that they were very similar. There was sections of the Town Meeting Act and sections of the Town Manager Act, which both dealt with a 9-member finance committee to be appointed by the moderator. So I couldn't tell you historically why it appears in both acts, but it does. But because of the unique role it plays, I could see that it could be. One could argue that it should be in both places.
But I understand exactly your reasoning. We don't know why originally it was there. But if it is going to remain, it should be an exact mirror in both documents.
Yes, one thing I would say, and I don't remember now if they're exactly the same or what ways they're different. But one thing that the Town Manager Act does, of course, it deals not just with the town manager, but with all of the different appointments that the town manager has to make, all the different department heads, et cetera, et cetera. And all of those departments have to work. One of the biggest jobs they all have is working with the town manager to create every year's budget. And the budget requirements are really stringent. He has to give not only what's happening in the current year, but is it 2 years prior or is it 5 years prior? Anyway, very specific stuff about what has to be in that budget. And it affects every person that's appointed by the town manager. And that alone could be reason why the Finance Committee should be
Therein lies the
mentioned here.
difference. The Finance Committee is appointed by the town moderator.
Yes.
Not the town manager. Reports to the town moderator and is not a participant in the creation of the budget.
Right.
But a reviewer of what is being asked in the warrant.
Right, but it's being asked through the hard work of the team that includes all those department heads. So it's up to you. I mean, it's not something that's up to me. It's true, it's redundant, it's in both places, and you got to think, why did those people way back in the 40s and the 20s put it in both acts? I couldn't tell you,
I'm
but
not going to question those people.
I am.
Leave
Because
it there.
I'm going to question them only because there is nothing in this section that the town manager affects. The finance committee is outside the purview of the town manager.
The finance committee can request any and all records in their deliberation, and they would need to go through the town manager to get those records.
As part of the town meeting act.
I think I'm okay with leaving it in this section because the paragraph after describes some of the functions of the finance committee.
Correct.
So it will make sense that prior to saying this is what the finance committee is going to do, we can, in this act, so someone doesn't have to go to the town manager act, to the town meeting act to find out what the finance committee is, and then come here to see what they're actually going to do. So having that definition here, and I wasn't there in the 40s, but if I was there, it would make sense that we define it in this document since we're describing some of their functions in subsequent chapters.
Then I would suggest that either if we agree that it should be in both, then I would think we would agree that it should be the same language in both.
So we'd have to review the two side by side.
Right, or take the first part of the language from the Town Manager Act and Town Meeting Act, and you can say something to the effect of Section 33, as described in the Town Meeting Act, the Finance Committee has certain powers, and then extend it. If you put the narrative, all questions pertaining.
I wouldn't reference the town meeting act.
Exactly.
I'd keep it in the manager act.
So I
It
guess
should be the same,
Yeah.
but I have to review it to make sure it is, but
So hearing the thought process, I'm wondering if legal counsel has a thought on.
I'm up here already because I had a comment I wanted to make, if I may, Madam Chair. And I'll defer to Chair Calhoun as to why it's in both. We don't really know why, but given it a quick look, it's much longer in the Town Manager Act than it is in the Town Meeting Act. It starts out exactly the same in the first paragraph. So you just want to make sure, if you vote that you want to keep it in both, I agree with Selectman Trask, they've got to mirror each other, or at least one should refer to the other, and they're not exactly the same. They start out exactly the same, but the Town Manager Act, it goes on much longer than the provision that's in the Town Meeting Act.
Okay. So I think
we'll compare
we
the two.
agree on the intent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's see, so, with that being said, all right. Do we want to discuss the recall or table it?
Hold on,
the
you missed
36.
section 36.
Did I miss
New
that?
36, the new one.
Oh, okay.
The time we need to use to, do we do it every 20 years?
Oh, yeah, the time, what are we going to, what?
Oh, I think we decided to keep 20 years on the other.
Yeah.
Did we say may, or did we leave shall?
I think what we discussed in the Town Meeting Act, similar language, but my concern was determined by a vote of the town meeting members, and I think, if I recall correctly, I made the argument it should be determined by the Select Board, and I think that's something we agreed should be changed.
Well,
Yeah, could you remind us what we said in the Town Meeting Act?
I've been spending a lot of time in these documents. So my notes, and Kathy and Kate both have their notes as well. My notes suggest that your requested language that may be within 20 years. Town meeting can/should initiate a review, but select board should determine the process. So it can be asked by town meeting, basically what you said. But at the end of the day, the select board is the one who says yes, and we're going to appoint a committee, and this is the timeframe and.
Yeah, so basically, the last three words of what's being added here, we suggested was a select board authority.
Yeah.
Not a town meeting authority.
Yeah.
That's the only change I would make. I'm fine with the 20 years. And shall, may, doesn't matter to me.
Dan?
Yep, that's fine.
Dee?
Yes, I'm okay.
Mike?
Yep.
Sally? Yes, you have something to say? Thank you.
Just one, excuse me, just one quick comment to that. I don't think this came to mind at our last meeting, talking about the Town Meeting Act. But the last sentence in both provisions about review of each act says the review will be conducted in a manner as determined by vote of town meeting members. And I know last time and tonight you're talking about changing that to being that it should be as determined by vote of the select board. But as I recall, one concern during our meetings that was discussed, and it's up to you whether or not you agree, is that town meeting is the legislative body of the town. That town meeting members could say, hey, we want to change these acts. Let's get a review going right now, and not need to come to the select board to have you agree with them. That it should be town meeting, the voters of the town, the elected representatives of the town, to decide it's time to make a change. And I'm not saying this could happen with today's select board, but can you imagine a time when town meeting members are hot to change something in the Town Meeting Act, and the select board doesn't agree with them and says, no, we're not gonna review it. You guys go home. So that is kind of, it's like the people, the representatives of the people saying, it's time to review and change, and this is how we want to do it. And they felt, the committee felt that that should be within the authority and power of the representative voters of the town, the representatives elected by town, as opposed to the select board making that decision. I just wanted to add that little excitement into this question.
Sure.
I think that you're right. I think that the only thing Select Board Member Gardner was suggesting was that the manner of the review is the authority of the Select Board.
Right.
But the request or the review itself is still dictated by town meeting. Am I correct?
I agree with you that town meeting can say, initiate this. We want you to do this. The methodology, and we wouldn't ignore a town meeting request to initiate a process. The methodology of conducting that process is ours, the mechanics of it is ours. And I would actually suggest that, and maybe I'm wrong, we're the legislative body. We ask town meeting to approve those legislative changes we put forward. Town meeting doesn't create warrant articles. No. They don't create warrant articles. Warrant articles are created either through citizens petition or through the process of town manager presents, selectmen approve, or selectmen add, goes to FinCom, goes onward, or the ZBA, or whatever it is that has done that work. They are the approving authority of the legislative changes we ask.
I don't know, it's so late if I can make this argument very effectively.
Yeah.
But if you look, for instance, at the Mass Municipal Association website, form of government language, talk about a town meeting, representative town meeting, or an open town meeting, is in fact the legislative branch of the government, of a local government. The select board or the city council, the mayor's office, and other forms of government, they're the executive branch.
Okay.
Now, I just don't have it in me with all the nuances of the differences to get very specific about that argument.
I can understand that. I'm not going to, I can understand
You're right.
Why don't we have Kate?
Town meeting is the legislative body, period.
Yep.
With the executive.
And it's true the select board drafts the warrants with exceptions for citizens petitions. And it's true the finance committee reviews all of them and makes the opening motion on each warrant article, et cetera, et cetera. But it's town meeting that has this really significant and important function.
But similarly, what I'm saying is the last part is who defines the process? Not who defines what's going to be talked about, but who defines the process. And I think that's on us.
Let's Kate. We have the legal
That's correct.
opinion.
She's
Yeah.
correct. A city form of government, city council, and that can include a town that has a city form of government, like the town of Barnstable, for example, has a city form of government. Anyway, many statutes require a legislative body to take certain actions. So I've looked at this multiple times, and she's correct that it's either the town meeting or the city council, or the town council, if it's a town with the city form of government. You guys are the executive branch, so you're correct that you would define the process, but you're not the legislative body.
Yep, okay. And it's late too, and I misspoke, so. It's late too, and I was speaking to
When
process.
we bring it back.
Process.
Yeah, and you'll have more time to look at it, review the language
Yep.
when we bring it back.
All right. Board members, do we want to discuss the recall or table it for future meeting? We could have
Oh,
Kate.
we should table, it's 10 o'clock.
I mean, the question is, do we have a sense of a consensus? Are people, maybe the process could change, but are people generally in favor of having it as a warrant article?
So if I might.
Hold the board and
If
just
I may, I'll
have
just
the-
offer this, and I'll try to be brief. I agree with taking it out of the out of this act completely, 100%. It requires a home rule petition. I am supportive of it going back to a warrant article. And I am supportive because I am the original author of this. I did the research, I worked with town council, I got the language approved, I presented it as a selectman's warrant, and at the time, the board makeup at that point did not want to pursue it as a selectman's warrant. So a citizen took that language, carried it forward, and it didn't pass initially. And then a second citizen, Mr. Trainer, took up the language. I want this to pass. It was my baby. And so because it is a home rule petition, I think it should be presented as a new warrant, separate and distinct from the Town Manager Act. And that would be the way I would want to vote and pursue this. I want to pursue this. But it can't be part of the Town Manager Act.
Okay.
That was my
Separate.
thought.
Let's get Kate's legal opinion on that, please.
That's absolutely correct.
Right, I think that's right.
It's got to be special legislation. So it's got to be a home, Selectman Trask just basically described, it's got to be a home rule petition, you've got to go to the legislature for special legislation, so it shouldn't be part of the Town Manager Act. So if you want to do it, you don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, that's the correct route.
So do we want to?
Separate warrant.
And I will again ask that the language be adopted as a select board warrant.
Yeah.
And if that's not the consensus, then I think it will be followed up by a citizen's petition. Again, whether it's Mr. Trainer or someone else
Mike?
who might feel strongly about it.
I think so, too.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I'll
Kate?
be okay to look at drafting a select board warrant for it.
Yep. Dan?
I'm not making any more decisions.
Okay. Well, Kathy's got notes for us, right?
No more decisions,
Ever?
ever.
But I can count to 3.
Was your,
I said yes. I'm going to go with it.
well, I mean, we'll bring it,
We'll bring it-
bring it
yeah,
back.
bring it
Take
back. We'll
bring
That's
it
going
back.
to take it out of here.
Yes.
Okay.
Select board. Warrant. Wonderful. All right. Thank you, board members. Let's, the
I
town.
want to thank legal counsel for all of her
I know, Kate.
insight.
I know, and Sally and the.
And Sally and the
And the
board, and
group.
everybody was on that committee.
Yep, they're all here. Thank you, everybody here, for staying so late. Great job. Kate, thank you very much. Thank you. The town, where are we now? Okay, here we are. The town manager will report to the board on various items of interest. I was
already out the door.
Okay.
Sorry
You might
about
not see her
that.
tomorrow till late, but that's okay.
You want to just email us?
I can email you. I would say the one important thing I want to bring to people's attention is the Mass DOT was working on a long-term safety study for Route 114 improvements, and that is open for public comment now. So I will send it out to the board, and we'll post a link on the website. So my understanding is people have been following this, so I want to make sure that the residents know that that is open for comment. Other than that, drop your pumpkins off here to recycle them. And please join us for Veterans Day and honoring the veterans on November 11th at 11 a.m. at Danvers High School Auditorium. And I did send you guys an update on all street closures that I received today, so I won't go through them here.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the consent calendar?
Okay, do I?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, terrific. Correspondence, select board, new business, previous new business, updates and select board closing comments. Gardner, you want to start?
The only, I've received similar emails to you in support of the electronic voting. I don't want to be remiss and not say I haven't, I have received some. And then all my other emails are internal administrative stuff. I do want to wish George Suluto success tonight. He is presenting to the Wenham Select Board his plans for revitalizing the swamp
Already
walk.
presented already.
You're right. By this time, he's presented. I want the board to know I sent a personal letter of support to this Wenham Select Board, not as a selectman, because I had been there when he did the initial, and I would have stood beside him tonight, except I'm here. So, but that was a personal note. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Mike?
I'll talk as fast as I can. At the traffic board meetings, a lot of people come in, and there's a lot of talk about the speeding and poor driving in the area. So I looked it up, and someplace on the interweb it said that in 1990 there was 133 million cars on the road. Now there's 298 million in the country. So at least 2.5 times the vehicles. I think that's obvious when you try to drive through town. So the push is that we had, back then, we had 31 patrol officers. We have 33 now. Somehow, we need to get a traffic division. If we had solely traffic people dealing with it, the revenue is insane. You could bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars with full-time traffic people, as well as fighting the obvious traffic dilemmas that we have. They could also handle accidents and whatnot, which would allow regular patrol to do the other things that regular patrol has to do. So yes, the pushback is that the money is the big problem, so we have to see if we can figure that out, and maybe the offset would be what they can return to us if they're, 2 people on every shift just doing traffic, not answering regular calls. That's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you.
Is that a recommendation that should go to the chief for his discussion? I don't know that we as a board should be setting a.
There's already my understanding is you initiated a staffing study for the police department already. That's underway, or well, the scope is launched, and I think that we've found a firm to do it. There's essentially only 2 that do it, so that is underway. And I will let you know my update from the police chief today. We will be, we have some conditional offer letters out, and we'll be fully staffed for the first time. And I think he said something like 13 to 15 years.
Wonderful.
With these 2 hires. And please join us for the swearing-in ceremony.
Yes.
I think it's all in your packets.
Dee?
Yeah, thank you. I received the same email. I said we want a lot of email in support of the clickers. There was, I think, 2 people that town meeting. One said they did not get the survey, and another one said they had concerns because they want to keep the tradition, and they don't want to go away from that, so they were opposed. I attended the Harbor Light Homes Housing Institute at the Senior Center on October 22nd. Very, very informative. They talked a lot about affordable housing policies in Massachusetts, what's happening, what's in the pipeline. Kudos to Alicia, Erin Henry, and town staff for putting that presentation together. If you missed it, you may want to have them send you a copy. It was really informative. Thank you.
Excellent. Dan?
Thank you. I attended that as well. I'll be brief, but I have a couple of things that are time-sensitive. November 7th, the Revenue Committee will be holding hearings on local tax options that the state will be looking to pass on down. Meals tax, hotel tax, increasing the state number, and also the ability of towns to add to the meals tax and the hotel tax, a separate item to raise funds. That's on November 7th. Today, I headed east on Maple Street. There was no detour sign, so I continued on to find at Summer Street, westbound traffic was going through. Bill didn't mention that today at 10 o'clock, but there was no sign at Vineyard telling me there was a detour ahead. So I had to swing around on Summer Street along with everybody else. Really should be a detour sign on Vineyard Street for the detour on Maple Street. And if you see a vet, please say thank you for their service.
Yep, that's good, thank you. And then for myself, I do want to, like the town manager said, remind people about the Veterans Day ceremony. Thank the review committee, Sally and her group again, and Kate, the town manager, the clerk, everyone. Also, I saw something that our clerk recently was awarded the International Institute of Municipal Clerks designation. Congratulations, Kathy Ellsworth, yeah. I guess what it is, I kind of Googled it to see what it was all about, and it grants the CMC designation only to those municipal clerks who complete demanding education requirements.
She is
and who have a record of significant contributions to their local government in the community. You know, Kathy adds a lot of value. She keeps us in line. Thank you very much, and congratulations, clerk.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank the board members. This has been a lot of work. It's now 10:06 p.m. Thank you for everybody in the audience. And I did receive a lot of emails about the clickers too, and I'm looking forward to discussing that some more. I think it's good. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you.